Here we go. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Residents of Evil. Thank you all so much for joining us for this very special episode. Today we're going to be reviewing Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. But as you can see, we have some very special guests here at the Residents of Evil. We got Jesse and Andy from Biohazard Declassified.
Cheers.
We got Beggy, Cory, Tony from the Residents of Evil. And we got Suzi, the Sphere Hunter.
Hey, what's up?
And we got Kai from Ink Ribbon.
Hey everyone.
So we all got together, all very excited to go see this movie. We all just got done watching it. This is going to be our first impressions review. We're going to be doing no spoilers, and then after we are finished with this, we will be doing spoilers, but we will make sure that we let all of you know, and we'll have a big spoilers above so you can see if you do not want to be spoiled. But to everybody joining, thank you guys very much. We appreciate you guys coming by. I think that's pretty much all there really is to go over. If you guys could let us know how our audio levels are, we would greatly appreciate it. It's probably not going to be perfect because we got a lot going on here, but as long as you can hear each of us, we appreciate the feedback. If you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like. Helps the channel. Lets us know what you guys like to see. And with that being said, let's get into our discussion. I said the thing. Let's get into it. I know you were waiting for that.
Man, couldn't resist.
Let's get into Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City. So first, I just want to kind of do like an overall thoughts, walking out of the theater, real quick, your initial thoughts on the movie, and then we'll get into actually breaking it down and discussing it. Remember, there's no spoilers right now, so in the chat too, I appreciate no spoilers because people here are watching the chat. So we're going to start over on this end with Kai. What is your initial thoughts on this movie?
Special thank you to people who were sending me spoilers, by the way. Very appreciated. But like everyone online was just, it's bad, it's bad, it's bad. And I was like doing my best to be optimistic, but in the back of my head I was like, ugh. And I actually enjoyed it a lot more than I thought it would. And I'll explain why later. But I liked it.
Very good, very good. And then we got Suzi. What is your initial thoughts of Welcome to Raccoon City?
So overall, I wasn't like the biggest fan of it. I will say, to the movie's credit, it is very watchable. It was definitely like fun, but I don't think it was like made for me. Like personally, like as we'll get into it, there are definitely a lot of problems that I have with it, but overall, it's better than the original movies.
Fair enough, yeah. I think a lot of people would agree with that. Tony, if you want to jump in, what is your initial thoughts of the movie? Oh, Tony, are you okay? You want to take a minute?
Get him some water. I wanted to walk out of a movie more than anything in my life. And I saw Ghostbusters 2016 in theaters, okay? So, look, this, I mean, I had no expectations going into this film, and I was still disappointed somehow. There's just, it's Hollywood. They screw up a lot of things. People want to do certain things in a film. Studios have other ideas. It's really hard to do with video games, and a franchise that's been around for 25 years. So I really tried to give it a chance. There are things I do love about it, don't get me wrong, but it's just not good. I didn't have fun.
Okay. Cory, how about you? Okay, that.
I did not enjoy it.
Okay.
Not much. There were some parts that I liked, but
Overall, not a fan. To everybody super chatting right now, thank you guys very much. We greatly appreciate the support. We will come back to all the super chats, so thank you. We're going to continue the discussion, then we'll jump back and read those aloud.
It sounds like we're having mic problems.
We're a little echoey, hey?
I'm not sure.
I think anybody like you guys, because you're right on the mic, you'll be good. Whenever it's going to go back here, it's going to get a little echoey. And we noticed that when we did tests this before. If you're right on the mic, it's good.
it's not that bad. I just listened to it.
Okay, all right. If it's,
We'll try to talk directly into the mic. Sorry.
we do appreciate that feedback. All right, moving on now to Beggy. What were your thoughts on Welcome to Raccoon City?
Honestly, I love this movie like a lot. I want to see it like multiple times.
Yeah.
There's like so many enjoyable scenes in this movie, so many memorable ones that make me laugh much more than I thought it would. And it's a very interesting reimagining. So if you have a lot of different adaptations of this franchise, such as novels, all the prequel literature, such as like Biohazard at the beginning, S.D. Perry's novels. If you're a fan of those, I think that you're really going to like to see some of the reimagined characters and roles here. Without saying too much, I really, really liked the remixes and the spins that they put on all of the characters, all of the cast, all the events of these games. And seeing those and kind of comparing them to what we've seen in the previous depictions was one of the most interesting parts of this film. It's just like we have one more solid adaptation, one more solid film adaptation to draw from. And besides the CG adaptations, we haven't really gotten that. We've seen very, very remixed stuff like Paul Anderson movies, but we haven't seen something that is live action that is like taking this much from the franchise itself and recreating it somewhat faithfully, but again with remixes. And I really appreciated those. I thought it was funny. I thought it was very well paced. I thought that overall this is something that people could easily get into, even if they're new, but fans especially will enjoy much, much more. There are constantly like all types of good nods to the fans, and some that are obviously more or less desirable than others. But the whole package for me was like very solid. Like I'll probably be watching this several times again, like soon.
You're killing me.
So
You're really killing me over here.
I think as of now, Beggy liked it the most. Tony liked it the least, and a few of us are in between. Moving on now to Jesse. Jesse, what were your thoughts?
So overall, I was very pleased with the film. To me, horror should always be campy and B film, something that felt like a B film. And to me, Welcome to Raccoon City hit both of those marks. It felt very Romero-esque, like the early, kind of the 80s, early 90s era Romero. Lots of really good fan service. I wish there could have been a little bit more either runtime or they could have consolidated down to one film. But I think overall the pacing for what they tried to accomplish felt a little rushed, but overall still made it an enjoyable film. And I'll probably also be watching it a couple of times outside of the necessary stuff to do video content on.
Yeah. Okay. And then Andy, what are your thoughts?
So overall, I enjoyed it. I think the tone is where we needed it to be. I think it is without a doubt the best Resident Evil film that's been made to date. I think that's a fair assessment of everything. I think Roberts tried to be a little bit ambitious, and he was obviously given a very, very tight runtime. I almost feel like there's going to be a lot of deleted scenes when this comes to Blu-ray, and I'd like to see them because there were certain times in it where almost the exposition overwhelmed us a little bit, and I just felt it was nearly there, but there definitely needed to be more in it, and you just can't combine these two games into an hour and 50 minutes. It's not possible.
Definitely agree, yeah. And you felt that throughout the movie. Now, this movie, it was a roller coaster. For me personally, I had my expectations very low. I've always said that I personally think it would be super cool to see a B-movie style Resident Evil movie in the same style as the Resident Evil 1 opening cutscene, just really cheesy practical effects. During this movie, there was moments where I was like, be careful what you wish for. Yes, it was campy. There was moments I did like. There were things that definitely stood out, and seeing the locations, they were fantastic. But there are also other moments in this movie that really just took me out. Like I found myself questioning, like, why would they do that? Why would they make that decision? Some cringe moments. I think the film as a whole, while it had some fun moments, I have to say that by the end of it, not for me. I didn't like it overall. Not to say that it's completely bad. And I think as a Resident Evil fan, it's worth going to see if you have the means. And if you don't, wait for it to come out, rent it, make your own opinions on it. But just personally, I didn't like the film. It's tough to compare them to the films we've already gotten because those were so different, while this was much more faithful. And it did have, it took some liberties, a lot of liberties actually, but yeah, I think that's kind of where I sit. Is I do think some Resident Evil fans will like this, and I think some Resident Evil fans are going to hate it. And then there's those in between who are like, yeah, some good and some bad. So you guys watch it and make your own decision. But I think that kind of sums up all of our first impressions coming out of the film. It was a lot of fun to go see it together. There were moments, Easter eggs. Every time they would say the thing or do the thing, Andy would clap. And you're like, they did the thing.
Let's go.
Yeah. And I think one thing this film definitely does have is they cram a lot of fan service into it. And a lot of it is good. And a lot of it, to me personally, seemed like a bit too much over the top. You know, some shots would linger on specific items that's just like, okay, we get it.
Yeah,
you know,
I know what that
did a
is.
thing.
you guys know what that is. And like I said, no spoilers. But I want to cover first before we go. I want to go through the positive of what things stood out to you that you guys liked the most. And then after we go through this, what things you did not like, what did not work for the movie. So we will come back around again to Kai. Kai, what things did you like the most about this movie?
Okay, I was taking notes, okay?
That's good.
So, what he said about the Easter eggs, you guys know I love my Easter eggs. Oh my god, almost every shot had something in the background and some sort of reference or like whatever, and I was just like, like every 5 seconds I was like, hey, it's that thing. The other thing is the set designs were fantastic, and I'm sure you guys will elaborate on that. And another thing is, you guys know I like my lore. I like to look at the characters' backstories and learn more about them. This movie, while it's definitely not canon, gives us the opportunity to really explore and actually see certain things, like, without spoilers, like, you know, more about Chris and Claire growing up, you know, more about other characters, and it felt very realized. And that's something that I really liked. And a lot of the depictions of the events were a lot more realistic and less sort of action movie than we're used to. And it was nice. Like, some moments were, like me and Andy were saying, it's like, whoa, like that was real.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
very good.
Those are my positives.
That's good. Okay, Susie, what were your positives?
So yeah, to quote unquote echo, because we're echoing, right?
Yeah.
Echo Kai.
So sorry.
The set designs were great. All of the environments, I think, had the appropriate atmosphere of like Resident Evil. Like, whatever they were trying to emulate, they definitely nailed it. Like, each particular room from the games, like, all that stuff was great. I liked some of the scenarios that the characters were going through. Well, one thing I was really worried about when I saw the trailers was the cinematography. Like, I didn't think, based on the trailers alone, like, the shots in the trailers were very good, but there were a few standout moments, like, you know, I'm not going to say exactly what it is, but there's a part where, like, there's a creature on the ceiling, and, like, they play with that creature's entrance really well. And I was like, wow, that is, like, that's perfect. Like, that is, like, an unsettling, like, oh, fuck, like, what is that on the ceiling? I can't see it. And then there's like another part where a character has a lighter and creatures are kind of reacting to the light, and you're like, oh, that's really cool too. Whoa. So very key moments. I loved the set design. The music was fantastic, actually. The music was so good. It's a completely original soundtrack. But yeah, it definitely, all of the atmosphere was there. I'll say that much.
Agreed.
Yeah.
For me personally, I don't know everybody, but Tony, what were some of your highlights?
Personally, I feel that I actually liked pretty much all the actors that they chose for this movie. I just wish they were given better direction, but I think they did a good job. Like, some of them did a really good job. Like, obviously they're not as like the characters we know for like the last 25 years, but I think Robbie Amell was like one of the standout actors as Chris. I think he was, and like listening to his like how he delivered lines and how he did things, and I was like, sounds like our buddy Nick Apostolides. Like, I really heard a lot of Nick coming out of him.
Boy.
And I was just thinking to myself, they should have given this to Nick. Not that Robbie didn't do a good job. Like I said, he did great. But I feel that if the length was a little bit longer of this movie, I think characters could have been fleshed out. But I still love them. I think the atmosphere was very on point with how a Resident Evil game should feel and look in terms of like movies, the set designs. I mean, like, they did show some behind the scenes stuff where it was like all like practically 90% built. And I think, what's one of the other things? Oh, like I said, the cinematography, the lighting, I think just really did it well for the movie to make it feel like that whole, like, some people complain about the CG when they first saw it, like in the first couple of trailers, but that's CG from like a year prior when they're getting this stuff ready. So they improve it as time goes on. But Overall, yeah, characters, atmosphere, music, it really was on point for that movie, which kind of made it more bearable to sit through, in my opinion.
Okay, Cory, what stood out for you?
Yeah, I mean, everyone else said it too, but the atmosphere was number one for me, I think, or the soundtracks as well. Those are my top two things. Other than that, right now, I haven't processed it enough. There's so much in that movie that, I don't know, I liked some things, I didn't like some.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I need time to think about that one.
Okay, Beggy, how about you?
I also love the atmosphere and soundtracks a lot. My favorite positive probably about this movie was the reimaginings of the character roles and how they included a lot of the tropes and the kind of classic camp that like Resident Evil has always done. In a lot of the early books, they had various happenings for the heroes, the villains, and you won't all see them played out in the same way, but they're all there somehow. I actually think that a lot of instances of those were very clever. I'll get into it more later, obviously, but I thought that those reimagined roles and kind of steering away from our conventional workings of what a character should behave like, what are they like, what are their traits, and kind of veering away from that, reinventing it a little bit. I thought that made this movie like really entertaining. I thought that made it pretty unpredictable. I didn't know how any of the plot was like. At a certain point, I started to realize, like, I can't predict the rest of this movie. Like, this is getting harder, actually. Like, the roles aren't filled conventionally the way that we would expect them to. And I like that. Like, I think that's a huge compliment to this movie. And I'm a fan of, actually, the pacing, the plot progression. I like what sparks things in the plot. I like what sets things in action. I didn't personally feel like too much was crammed in. I didn't personally feel like too many of the monsters or iconic scenes were kind of ruined or glossed over, or they were not doing justice. I felt like overall, as a package, to tell the story of Raccoon City, not including past like Resident Evil 2, I think this was like very, very solid as a package, and I just really love the remixing, which I'll get into later again.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about you, Jesse?
I mean, for the most part, everybody's kind of already said what my key takeaways. Music was phenomenal. The set design was absolutely incredible, especially kind of seeing the journey from, behind the scenes photos where, we had hundreds of people send us stuff from Canada when filming was going on. So to see that progression from, set design to see it in the film, it was just awesome. I think all the scenes look on point. Music's phenomenal. I think every bit of 90s era music was used appropriately. There was some other cool like Resident Evil related 90s tropes that got thrown in there, which I really appreciated. And I think the remixing to me this is kind of going to be a positive for me and a negative, but not knowing how the story was going to progress, knowing that we had Resident Evil 1 and 2 into one package and kind of playing out at the same time, kind of kept me on my feet, and I really enjoyed that because I know a lot of fans will disagree, and I'll probably get some hate comments for this, but to me, just a solid remake of the first video game would be boring. I don't want to see people run through the house and collect puzzle pieces like that. That's so boring to me. Like, so trying to figure out how to make it entertaining while staying faithful. Like I said, I think it's one of the movie's greatest strengths, but also one of its biggest weaknesses as well.
Well said. Yeah. How about you, Andy?
I think there were something that I really picked up on, and it's something that I don't feel was covered enough in the games, was the trauma of reacting to these beings that they've never experienced. Obviously, these people, they're stars, they're trained for certain situations. When they're not trained to fight zombies, they're not trained to fight like otherworldly things. So like there was a scene in it, and I won't go into too much detail, but I mean it's pretty obvious. There's a scene where Chris engages a zombie, and they're like so traumatized by what they're seeing, and it's an absolute like directorial beauty. It really is. So that was something that really stuck out to me. And just generally across the board, reacting to these beings was really special. So that's what I took away from it.
Yeah.
Positive points.
I guess to echo, obviously, the atmosphere and the music. The music was fantastic, and it stood out every time it came on. Just seeing that music paired with the RPD or with the Spencer Mansion, it gave me chills. Like it made the things I didn't like in the movie worth seeing, because just those moments were it was fantastic to see it on a screen. So much more faithful than we've gotten in the past. One thing with Raccoon City now is, instead of being a live, bustling city, it's a dying town. It's a small town, and there's that sense of small town secludedness that really, I think, adds to the Resident Evil atmosphere. Just going back to when I originally played Resident Evil 2, it always felt like a smaller town to me. You know, a lot of the locals, everybody knows each other, and you're just kind of off on your own, secluded, and that's what this movie had. I did like that. I think, yeah. So there was the beginning portion there, and I don't want to do any spoilers. But one other highlight that I just kind of wanted to point out is the chemistry with the STARS members at the very beginning. It was fun. It was fun to just see them in their natural element, hanging out with each other, joking, without going too far into spoilers, just seeing the daily life of a RPD officer or a STARS member. I thought that was pretty cool, and it was cool to see them, in the locations, some of the locations from the games and some newer locations. But yeah, I think we're all pretty much on the same page that the atmosphere and the music were definitely a top. Now I kind of want to get into some things that you guys just did not like. Not kind of didn't like, but what did you just not work for you? And if you don't have any, that's totally fine. I got a list. But we'll try to keep her going here. But Kai, what things did you just not work for you in this movie?
We're not in spoilers yet?
Non-spoilers yet. After this
Just
part,
the general,
we made yeah.
Aside from the Chris zombie I mentioned earlier.
Oh
obviously.
God! So going to the remixed stuff, some of it was really good. Where it was like, as a Resident Evil fan, you're like, I never thought of it, but that's actually a really interesting idea. I kind of dig that. And then there was stuff where you were like, what? What? Like it just didn't make any sense at all. And some of it was like in a cool way, where it was just so ridiculous that you're like, okay, sure. And then some of it, you're just like, oh my God, like what did they do? No, that was.
There was a point in the movie, and I don't mean to cut you off, but literally we're like, something happened, and we all just looked at each other, and we're all like,
yeah, like all of us in the theater were like, oh my God, what?
It was
Like,
insanity.
what?
Absolute
Like it was mutual. The face and the hands was mutual between everybody. But I'm sorry to cut you off. Continue.
I can't wait to get to the spoilers, you guys.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my God, so many things to say. I mean, that's actually pretty much it. Without everything's
Yeah.
spoilers. I can't
Yeah.
say anything.
Yes. How about you, Susie?
I'll just say, just to keep it brief in general, like I know it's really difficult to make like a one-to-one adaptation. I've always dreamed about like watching a Resident Evil movie that could just be like RE1, and I think you can do that in like a really fun way that doesn't involve just watching the characters pick up puzzle pieces and go through puzzles. But obviously that's not what this movie is. So I tried to dispel that from my mind as I was watching it. But some things I really didn't like about the movie were, I don't think all of the characters got enough time to be fleshed out with their motivations or just their characterizations. Like they're very specific characters, and I'll just say there was a lot of talk about two characters that people had worries like, oh, are they even going to be like a big part of this movie? Where it kind of felt like they weren't really that much a part of the movie. Like they might be my two favorite characters in the series, so I was a little burnt by that. But yeah, generally just the characterization's not getting enough time to shine. I love all those actors, so like it was a little disappointing that like not every single character got enough, where like maybe like one or two others like got a whole lot. So
Yeah.
and just very quickly, not a huge fan of some of the remixed scenes or character relations. So,
Yep.
but yeah, we'll get
Same.
into those spoilers.
Yeah. Tony, how about you? What did you absolutely not like most?
I feel that they started trying to do like a lot of different things and just kind of didn't really run with it or fully complete it. With characters interacting with one another, I feel like plot lines kind of started and went nowhere, and then there's other characters that are in this movie that are just completely underutilized. And like when they're seen at certain parts of the movie, if they were never seen again, you were totally okay with that. But then some come back, and you're like, okay. And I think this movie kind of does something. I can't really say without spoiling it, but it relies, I think, too much on the nostalgia and the Easter eggs. It's kind of like what Ghostbusters Afterlife is getting criticized for, except it works partially in that movie, where this one, it's kind of like they're doing this to bring you and put you in a seat, and it doesn't pay off big time. Yeah, sure, it's great to see all these things, don't get me wrong. But yeah, it just doesn't work. It just feels like there's a lot of things that they're not tying up in this movie, and they introduce, and nothing really just goes anywhere.
It's like the reliance on the references and the Easter eggs is very like present, just all throughout the movie, and like
a little too much.
Yeah.
Too much. Yeah.
And I think JJ said this earlier, but like at a certain point, you're just like, all right, I get it.
Yeah.
Like, I got it.
Yeah, and it's like you said, dude. It's like, we're not gonna get like a shot-for-shot remake of stuff because that'd be boring and everything. But when you change up things so dramatically that are iconic, anything, we know we're not gonna get a 100% remake, like I said, or like anything like that. But it's just when you change the things that are so iconic, it's kind of a slap in the face to people who've been here. Because is that what you changed? Is that for the new people who are going to see this movie? Because they're not going to understand. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't connect in my way. That's just kind of how I feel. There's a lot of disconnect in this movie, relying too much on nostalgia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agree. How about you, Cory?
Oh, I was gonna say skip me on that one, but
One thing you just hate. Did not like. Not hate, but did not like.
well, yeah, no, without saying spoilers, though, it's kind of hard. So I couldn't really
Okay, we can come back to
in
it.
general. And,
Yeah. How about you, Beggy?
I think that along with the Easter eggs and all of the very overt references, overall the biggest problem I have with it is probably just the script, like itself. Like not even the parts that are alluding to some event or item in Resident Evil, just the script itself. Honestly, sometimes doesn't hit the way that it should. Sometimes there's a lot of telling and not showing. There should be more substance with the lines to establish the dynamic between the characters. I do think it improves later in the movie. It's weird. It's like when it started, I was more critical of the script, and there was kind of spewing more of the references. It was less substantive and more kind of just relying on what everyone said. Kind of being carried by those references and Easter eggs. And so I feel like later, in the latter half of the movie, the more it went on, the more I started to appreciate the characters' dynamics more, and the more they felt like characters of substance. They felt like they were real characters. They felt more believable. They felt more palpable. And that took a while to get going, but once it did, I was like very engaged with the movie. I was seeing certain adaptations of characters that are probably my favorite ever that I've seen, and it was just like it took a while for that to get going. If certain lines in the script could be kind of like reworked a little bit to be less awkward, and maybe not have so many of these references packed so tightly together, and have a lot of them more so only be used if they kind of go somewhere. Some of them are just thrown in because they happen, but they have no place in the film.
If I could add to your point on that, just like really quickly, like
Sure.
it definitely felt like the first like third of this movie was front loaded with like Easter eggs and references. But then like when you got to the end, the characters did feel more realistic. But yeah, when you go into this thing, like for most of the beginning, it feels like you need to know who these characters are.
Yeah.
Like as soon as they say their name, like, oh yeah, I know who Jill is, or I know who Leon is.
And they do make a habit of always repeating that person's name, so you know who that person is. Like,
Yeah.
oh hello, or something something, you would just say casually, but then they add the name to it, just oh, that's Wesker. You know what
That's
I mean?
true.
I noticed that.
They
Like,
did that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
With
I just
all
feel
of the
that doesn't
characters.
work.
not a
But
big
also,
deal,
like,
but
they kind of had to.
they had to. Yeah.
Because even we were like, oh.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
And also, I just feel like during those scenes, though, when it feels weaker, when the script feels sillier and kind of it's not organic, it doesn't have that organic plot progression, and the characters' dynamics are like really kind of forced in the beginning. I will give it the compliment that some of those early scenes have the best atmosphere that kind of like draws you into the horror aspect, and it doesn't need you to get that close to the characters. It's like you can kind of slowly get introduced to them by like weird writing, and that's kind of okay.
Yeah.
I didn't mind that. So,
Okay.
yeah.
How about you, Jesse?
I think the script is definitely one of the weakest parts of the film. Just to kind of go back to the exposition at the beginning of the film. There was a scene with 3 of the kind of continuing characters where things were said that were kind of blatantly obvious about who they were by one of the characters, and it was just like, yeah, okay, like we know who this is. Just unnecessary exposition, and I think there was a lot of the characters felt underutilized or name drops for the sake of name drops. Like there's 2 particular characters in the film that have a somewhat of a minor role in the first 2 games, but are just kind of, if you didn't hear what their names were, they could have just been anybody. Like they literally didn't matter until it was like, oh, okay, this is so and so and so and so. So they could they could have been easily replaced with anybody. So and that's the thing that was kind of weird to me that I didn't really like. There were some characters that weren't present that seemed like a weird omission, but at the same time, like you had some other characters that were just thrown in to be thrown in. So I feel like they could have found a better balance there.
Yeah. How about you, Andy?
Just to mirror Jesse's point about just exposition, I mean, it's always good convention to show us, not tell us about it. And that's where the script really failed in this. It was just like, it was constantly just telling us about stuff. I'm like, I'm not fucking interested. Just fucking show us something. Show us a photo that kind of goes back to a flashback or something like that. But no, it's just like unnecessary exposition. But on top of that, it always goes back to the runtime. And does this work as a movie? And I feel like it doesn't. I feel like this works as more like Chernobyl, like a 5-part miniseries, so you can really start to flesh out these characters and flesh out this story. It just felt like obviously Roberts has a good handle of where he wanted everything to go ultimately, but at the same time he wasn't given enough time to do it, and that ended up with just all this unnecessary exposition.
Yeah. I think a large part of the budget went to the soundtrack, not the songs that they made, but some of those 90s songs. There's one in particular I think that we could pretty much tell took up a large portion of the budget for this movie. Not that big of a deal. I guess my real problems with the film...
Was it Journey?
It was Journey. That's a pretty penny right there.
Yeah.
You could see that in some of the CGI. Oof.
Oh, is that a spoiler?
Yeah, but that again, not my big problem is the script writing and the pacing. Okay, this movie does a lot in not a lot of time. Basically, it doesn't have the time to do what it's trying to do. It's cramming a lot into a little bit, and because of this, the characters suffer. Characters that you're supposed to feel the attachment to or between, you almost don't feel it because it feels so rushed and forced.
Yeah.
You don't feel that there was enough time to really establish this connection between characters. The script writing, there's moments when you're just, and obviously Resident Evil and the cutscenes, they've always had the really cheesy dialogue, but this is kind of a movie. You would expect a little more, and a lot of the dialogue was like, was this written by an elementary student? Like, it just seems sloppy. And I think really just inevitably this movie fails from trying to do so much in so little time and not really building the characters and building the world. It's just moving. And, the scenes where actually that could really work, the mixes they were trying to do really could work, and you could feel that connection, be like, wow, this has got a lot more weight to it. They don't, because of the pacing. So personally, that was probably my least favorite part of the movie, and unfortunately is kind of a big portion of a movie, so it was kind of a big deal. It kind of goes to why I wasn't a big fan of this movie. But now, before we get into spoilers, so we're not jumping into those yet. I think we all pretty much hit on the points. We all did a very good job getting our points across and keeping it like, instead of, because when we got out of the movie, we were all just, yeah, and this and this and this, but we were trying to keep it so that you guys could understand what each of us thought. But now I want to kind of give a review from each of you, and I don't like putting numbers on things. It's hard to really review something based off of numbers, but let's review it by like, would you buy it? Would you rent it? Or would you not even bother? Okay. Does that sound like a good rating system to you guys? Or should I add one more in there?
It.
Stream? Well, yeah.
I mean,
Stream rent, yeah.
Okay.
if it's in like for example, if it was in like Amazon Prime or something like that, would you just
So you're saying I should add pirate it? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. All right, so
We condone piracy, apparently.
we'll go buy it. Rent it is like going to the movie theater or renting it, online streaming it, or just pass. Okay, so we'll start with Kai. Buy, rent, pass.
Rent.
Buy, rent, pass.
Yeah.
I feel like we need another one, but
Yeah. I get it.
Okay. Is the context of buy, rent, pass like right now it's in the theater?
yeah, like buy it means that you liked it so much that you would buy it when it came out. Rent it is like you'd go to the theater to watch it,
Yeah. Okay.
Or-
Or like free on streaming.
or free on, or wait for free on streaming.
Just, rent if that means like it's on Netflix or something.
That's I like that. Yeah. How about you, Tony?
It's a rental. It's one of those things you can just sit down with like the significant other or friends and just have a laugh at, popcorn flick type deal.
Yeah.
That's just something that is literally the best way to sum it up, in my opinion.
How about you, Cory?
I'd say rent if it was your first time watching it, but yeah.
I guess because we're all Resident Evil fans here, right? We're obviously all going to say
we're
rent.
biased.
Yeah. But how about you, Beggy?
Yeah, I would totally buy this movie.
Okay.
And
There you go.
I'd even own like
She's being
physical
paid off.
copies
Yep.
of movies.
There's an
I know.
imposter here.
Yeah.
But I would honestly buy this for another person. I think this is
Oh, see, okay.
if you're a Resident Evil fan, I
You
would
hate the
I would
person.
consider yeah.
Well,
And
any collector is going to want this on their shelf,
Yeah, that's
regardless
true.
of quality.
Yeah.
some people won't. I will.
I know I won't.
Yeah. How about you?
I mean, if it was buy this or buy any of the Paul Anderson movies, definitely buy this. But I think for the casual fan or casual, zombie kind of thing, it's definitely a rental. Something to watch with your family, or even if you like going out to the theater, it's a fun theater experience. But yeah, I think you'd have to be a hardcore fan or collector to want to buy it.
Okay, how about you, Andy?
Yeah, very much in the same boat. Yeah, just a rental really, but it must be said this is so much better than the Anderson series, so I would rate this. This is regardless what we think of it in its current form, this is the best Resident Evil movie to date.
I don't know, Vendetta and Damnation and
Live
action.
action.
I mean, yeah,
Because if anybody can say that the final chapter was better than this movie, I
Oh dear,
You're talking
I
out your
no
arse.
respect for your opinion.
No, I would literally ask to fist fight you.
It's going down. You guys are really getting entertainment.
We were never going to agree in the first place.
Yeah, I think for the very few moments that I really did enjoy, I think it's worth renting or going to watch. I wouldn't buy this movie, and it's unfortunate. I left the theater pretty disappointed. Like I said, there were those highs that I was just like, that's awesome. I really like that. You took a chance with that. I really like that. But there was just too much in this that didn't work for me. I have no urge to add this to my collection. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. And yeah, I think that everybody put a little context behind it. And
Can I add something?
Yeah, add something.
Just this is something that social media is kind of affected with us. If you love something, then just love it, and don't go online to see what other people are saying. So you're like, oh well, that's what I think too. Actually, experience it for yourself and have your own thoughts and opinions, because you'd be surprised.
Well, that's
Very well said.
And a lot of things are with movies. A lot of people will listen to reviews, and then 5 years later you find out, shit, this movie was actually good. And it got trashed.
Actually, sorry, didn't that happen with The Thing back in the day, where it was actually panned at the time,
Yeah.
but then years later it became critically acclaimed.
Yeah.
Well,
Got my bit in there.
and I don't want to get political, but it's something I keep seeing on the chat on the screen where people talk about I hate this notion of they changed characters' looks and it's woke trash. I didn't get a single political message out of the whole film.
No.
My political views probably vary. Everybody's in this room are probably very varied, and I didn't get one political woke leftist, not whatever.
I didn't roll my eyes or anything.
Yeah.
I go,
It just felt like a Resident Evil.
Yeah, it did.
There wasn't one political reference the whole time.
In all fairness, they probably didn't have the time to put it in.
Yeah,
That's true. That is
not
true.
long enough, guys, to have any Hollywood crap.
Yeah, no, I'm sure a lot of people were worried, that would come into it. And I don't think so. I think the director chose the actors that he thought would fit the roles he had best. But yeah, so I think that pretty much kind of wraps up where we're at with that. I like that message, Kai, is if you like this movie, that's great. Like what you like. If you dislike it, dislike what you dislike. Just don't give somebody else a hard time because of it. You can all have opinions. Yeah, we don't gatekeep. We can all have, and that's what creates good discussions. As you can see, we vary in opinions here. We're not fighting. We're having a discussion, and that's what's fun. That's why it's good.
The camera's rolling.
Oh yeah, you two are going out at it after this. We'll do that at the after party. Just kidding. All right, guys. So what we're gonna do now is we're going to go into our open spoiler discussion. Okay, so let me pull this up here.
Spoiler clacks.
And for anybody who donated, thank you so much for your support. We appreciate that. After our spoiler discussion, we will get into each and every one of your super chats. Again, we greatly appreciate the support. We are not ignoring you. We're just going to go through our discussion, and then we will come back and say thank you and read what you have to say. So, spoilers is up, you guys. I'm going to keep saying this over and over just so everybody knows. We are going to get into open spoilers. So if you have not seen the movie yet and you do not want to be spoiled, do not listen further. Okay? Spoilers. We good? Everybody's on the same page in the chat? We're good?
I'm not.
I'm just giving everybody time. Giving everybody time. If you need to leave, we totally understand. You can come back and watch this after.
Okay.
Oh, no. Okay, I think that's enough time. Spoilers. Okay. I don't want to hear it after this. I don't want to hear it in the comments. I got spoiled. I'm just kidding. Okay, so now let's get into... There's a lot to talk about.
So much.
There's so much. I don't even really know where to start. But I want to jump to one thing I think that stood out to me the most that really hurt this movie for me. And it was the cringe moments.
Yeah.
There was a lot of cringe moments.
Define.
And I will define,
Yeah.
as we said, there was a point in the movie where we all looked at each other, we all had our hands up. There's a few moments in this where it's just, it takes you, it's so out of left field that it takes you out of the experience. I think at one point it did work, but okay, for example, the Itchy Tasty, where she writes on the window, Itchy Tasty.
It's like,
And then,
shoehorned in.
a kid breaks into the house and she goes to check the kid and she's like, do you need help? And he's like, you need help. And then the lady breaks in. Obviously, it's in the trailers. But before she tries to bite Claire, she goes, Itchy Tasty, Itchy Tasty. And to me, I was just like, what? That's so...
Could have done with it.
Talking
That
zombies.
wasn't
Talking-
the Resident Evil 2 remake with Sherry. And
Did-
that was
I
like where
I must have missed that.
because like where she's like where Claire was like, no, it's okay. Do you need help? She goes, no, you do. And then Burger.
Yeah.
No, that was fine. It was just the zombie. It was the zombie saying Itchy Tasty. But the one point where we all looked at each other was, okay, so Leon Kennedy, another thing we could discuss.
Oh, man.
Don't worry, we'll get into that. But he is, listening to some good old 90s music while the truck driver flips his semi and explodes right out the door. Leon, terrible rookie cop in this movie, doesn't even bat an eye. And then all of a sudden the music kicks in, the 90s music kicks in, and a zombie just comes walking in the front door on fire.
Not like a zombie though.
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like
he's
a
like-
normal
just
man.
like-
Yeah.
Just like
walking in like
strolling
he's going
in.
to check in or something. It's
Yeah.
To be
weird.
fair though, like I said at the theater,
looked
if you
horrible.
don't believe that somebody can sleep through an explosion, you need to watch me sleep.
Oh my.
Because
God.
I can sleep.
I think
I did, deployments and stuff. I can sleep anywhere.
Yeah.
I don't think the explosion and him not waking up was it for me. It was just the zombie just walking in on fire while the music goes to it, and
It looked so bad.
it's just so out of place. And then Irons comes, shoots a zombie, and says, "Leon, take care of this." And he runs over and puts it out, and he's like, "What's going on?"
It was like it should be in something like Deadpool or something like that. It was that sort of like just completely like out of nowhere, just satire. Really.
Yeah.
Satire, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I will say, and the reason why that scene didn't really affect me as much is because one thing that I think this movie did well that we didn't really talk on is the degradation of the mental capacity once somebody's infected. It's never really hit on in the video games.
I wanted to touch upon that too.
Yeah, because like the whole
Yeah.
thing with the itchy tasty lady, like you see her in a scene, in the scene where Claire first arrives at Chris's house, and her kid's standing in the window, and she comes up, and you can tell she's infected.
Yeah.
But she's still like it. I appreciated those kind of scenes, and even with the truck driver, because I mean he was still fighting off the infection right before the crash, so he still had some human faculties. And we saw that with the zombies at the gate too, where they were saying, "Let me in."
Yeah.
I did like that. I like that was creepy. I like that.
Because
I
I
talk
think
about that for a second because I'm actually obsessed with that idea, that concept of like what the zombification process is,
Yeah.
like in like media. So like I thought that was actually really well done. Like cringy, itchy, tasty aside, like the part where like Leon is like just like he locks up the gate to the RPD and like a seemingly normal looking person is like, "Hey, can you please let me in?"
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
a fucking zombie
Yeah.
whose like brain is like rotting.
It's almost like you can hear the person trapped inside, and it's like they have just that one thought that's
Yeah.
getting
well,
through.
to
They
me,
can't
like
communicate.
this is the keeper's diary played out on
Yeah.
screen,
Yes.
over and over
Diary?
again. Because
Yeah.
we see
Keeper's
from the
diary.
keeper's diary where
Yeah.
the first couple of days he's normal, then he's talking about eating dog food, and then
Yeah.
Yeah.
we see this play out for multiple people throughout this whole film, and I think it's great because we don't really get that in video games. Like it's hit on in a
The
handful.
closest you get is Brad from the remake of RE3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's about the closest you can
That
get.
was only last year though.
Exactly.
So
I think okay, so I do agree. I like that they added so much more of this what's going on between being a person and a zombie. And that in between is creepy as hell. The way they're all chanting, "Let us in," and their hair is falling out and their eyes are bleeding. That's awesome. Once they become a zombie, they're very much more like a Romero zombie. Did you guys get that?
I
Slow
hated the
moving.
zombies.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
really?
it just reminded me of a
controversial statement, but the Paul Anderson films had way better zombies than this one, and
I think I agree.
I will die on that hill.
Yeah.
They were definitely less like rotten looking in this
Yeah.
movie. They were like fresh zombies. Where in that movie, I feel like they just like decayed immediately, like those movies.
Well, that's the thing that always bothers me about the Anderson movies is the pacing of the plot progression of movies, because it's like you have the second film and then going into Extinction, the third film, where literally sometime in an undisclosed but very close amount of time, the world goes from being normal to a desert.
Yeah.
Like it's like yesterday was Raccoon City, today's like water world with sand.
Yeah, pretty
Like,
much.
it's weird, like
Yeah.
because it
Except
seems like
Waterworld
the
was more impressive.
yeah, like it just seems like the dystopianness like happened overnight
Yeah.
versus where this. I mean, it kind of happens overnight, but it's fresh.
yeah, and just on that point, something which I didn't really feel, and I really wanted them to capitalise on, was how it then transferred from people to people to people to people, and then created. It was like kind of like the origins of the outbreak.
Yeah.
Obviously, we were told. Oh, apologies. Obviously, we were told about it, like, and how it seeped into the waters and through, and it was referenced that some people were given pills, and that was a bit that was just kind of thrown in there, but I would have liked to have seen more of how the outbreak, like people passed it to each other, maybe like a kendo scene or something,
Well, see, I think the pills were supposed to be an outbreak reference, but it
Yeah,
was
of course.
so shoehorned in that
sorry,
I think even if it was not just thrown in for sight, if it was supposed to be an outbreak reference, it just fell flat.
Yeah, it's like what I was saying earlier. It's like there's plot lines that begin and kind of just don't go nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think though one thing I did like is the initial outbreak in Raccoon City, the alarm going off in the city. It's very creepy, and the town seems very empty because it's a dying town. Umbrella is packed up; they're moving out. They're washing their hands of this city. Nobody wants to live in the city. It's referred to as a shithole multiple times.
It's almost like Trump wrote the script.
Yeah, it's just over and over. Yeah, but it
Raccoon
is.
City is a great place. It's awesome. It's beautiful. It's great. It's fantastic. I love it. I have 4 homes there.
Except the opposite.
But to me, like, you know, looking at the Anderson film's interpretation of Raccoon City, I did like a whole breakdown of like, you know, using Montreal or Quebec.
Yeah.
Or, it's not Quebec.
Sudbury.
Toronto. Sorry. Using those cities as a backdrop is cool because it gives you this like huge scale. But it's unrealistic if you look at the actual video games, where Raccoon City's a town of a popular,
Yeah, it was booming.
100,000 people, and even like walking through the streets of Resident Evil 2 and 3, the originals, the town looks empty and dead. Like, you know, I get like a zombie outbreak's going on, but we're talking. Huh?
No, you're good. Sorry, just Sean. We're getting a lot of new people in right now, and I want to make sure they know their spoilers.
You know, so my thing is like I get like an outbreak was happening in 2 and 3 during the games, but we're still talking like early days of the outbreak, and the town looks kind of run down and falling to pieces. So I think, you know, again, I think Robert's version of Raccoon City, using a smaller town and, you know, making it where it's like Umbrella's packing up, is more believable than Anderson's.
Agree.
Even come
Well,
close to.
it really seems like he went for the original
Yeah, I was
lore.
gonna say
Yeah.
that.
Because Raccoon
Yeah.
City was originally a small town,
Yeah.
and then they like retroactively like made it like a much
city,
bigger
too.
like city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the content of the movie is borrowing from the original classic series, but the aesthetic of the movie is the remake, reimagined,
Yeah.
like RE2 and 3
I get that.
reimagined.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah,
That makes, like, a
even
really-
even the logo is like the classic
Yeah.
Resident Evil.
That's
I
true.
like that.
Yeah.
I really like that.
That looked
yeah.
really good, honestly. Like, I think that worked really well because a lot of the classic kind of isolated horror in a small town horror trope movies, they work so well because they don't have all those restrictions. Like, they help your suspension of disbelief because all of these things wouldn't happen in like a larger city, but in like the early literature and in the early games, it's like a sleepy farming community. It's been described that way before. And then eventually Umbrella would get a state-of-the-art hospital, they would get a competitive education system, they get all of these grand assets, and they just transform this tiny town into something grand. And when they realize that they have to cover something up, it just gets really like eerie, it gets very daunting. When the sirens go off, it's like it just feels like more apocalyptic, that
Yeah.
it feels like you're in this surreal kind of landscape. You're stripped away from reality. You're detached from the world you know. And I feel like that smaller imagining of Raccoon City contributes like immensely to that. Like, I feel like it's much better. It's much stronger.
Yeah.
To that, when it's all going down and Irons tries to get out, like, he's done with this town. He's like, whatever, Leon, you can tell your dad that you climbed the ranks from recruit to captain. It's all yours, but I'm leaving. I really did like that scene where obviously he's playing Journey, which is a callback to a comment he made to Wesker earlier. He's blasting Journey and he pulls up to a barricade with Umbrella agents. And just like I was hoping, these people are getting out of their vehicles. They're like, why won't you let us through? And the Umbrella agents just turn and just start shooting people. And it just goes to show, like, nobody's allowed to leave this town. Like, this is real. I know they did this in the other movies, but I liked it. I liked it in this one. And then obviously Iron's just like, oh, you know, ducks his head and tries to get out. And he's like, okay, that's not going to work. But I did like
You can't
that.
tell me that wasn't Hunk there either.
Yeah. Well, no, because it was referred to as man. That's what the subtitle said was
Yeah.
man.
Yeah,
But
it's not him.
hunk.
But my
Yeah.
thing is I think this blockade felt more believable. And again, going back to the Anderson films, where somehow, like, basically overnight, Umbrella put up a wall around
Yeah.
the entire
Oh yeah,
city.
the entire
Yeah.
iron gates and shit.
Yeah, and it's like-
On that point, though, and this was a fucking massive plot hole for me, is that so we're expecting this town's all blockaded, etc., etc. How the fuck did Brian Irons get back so quick? Like, back to the police station?
Because the story needed to happen.
And the same as like leaving. It
He
almost
let Journey guide him back.
Journey
it
guy
just
was
seemed like
Okay.
it just seemed like he like chucked on a GTA waypoint and he was just fucking
he was there, yeah.
So like this is one of the examples of what I was talking about, where like we're used to Resident Evil being kind of more like an action movie, and this was a lot more visceral because like in Apocalypse there was like the giant wall and all that stuff and like tons and tons of people, whereas this one you were like in a very intimate, like he's trying to get under a bridge and then people get shot and he's like, oh crap, and he's like, you know, you're like fighting for survival. And I have to mention something really surprising. I think a lot of us had this same shared belief or feeling that we actually really liked this version of Chief Irons.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I like
Loved
Chief
it.
Irons in this
It
movie.
wasn't-
So much.
Wonderful.
It wasn't like paedophilic like it was in RE2 remake.
No.
Like that, he was really.
He
like,
wasn't meant
awkward.
to be here. He really was just meant to be like, I know there's a lot of like tropey characters, even the trucker eating burger, like that's such a trope. But like, and a lot of Capcom's like writing, like early archetypes of characters are like very American tropey characters. They even have a character in Final Fight 3 that's named after Arby's, the restaurant. His name is
Yeah, they
Arby.
do.
Oh, God.
So it's kind of like, this is like the fat asshole businessman, you know? But it's like, he's not the pedophilic asshole businessman.
Yeah, he's
No,
an
like,
ass.
we
No
got-
taxidermy
it
or
was
anything
kind of
like
like
that.
Spider-Man, like give me more pictures of Spider-Man. Like,
Yeah.
it was like that kind of character. It was just like, what?
Yeah.
Chief Irons in this movie is literally like, you could imagine him as like, oh my god,
Holy crap, that
shit,
could have threw us
dude.
off there, Cass. Oh my god.
Thank you, Cass.
God damn!
Thank you.
Wow.
I'm splitting this.
Wow.
But
Thank you for
Anyway.
the pizza.
yes, thank you. I was gonna say like Chief Irons he's not like a creepy weirdo like he is in the originals. He's literally just a guy that hates his job and his life.
He's done with it.
Like he's done.
It
Yeah.
being
is
a
alluded.
police
It
officer.
is alluded to that he has some sort of.
Payoff.
Connection
Like
to him.
he
That
literally
Yeah.
puts Leon in charge. He's like, here you go. And
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's all up to you. Bye.
Can we talk
I'm
about
outta
how
here.
much Leon just gets
Let's-
abused in this?
Talk about Leon, you guys.
Leon, what did they do? to him?
Leon was done dirty, whether you like it or you don't like
Can I
it.
just can I just
You
say
can go
like,
take it. Yeah.
Like okay,
He was
Leon,
the joke of the movie, basically.
Leon
The whole
in,
time she was sitting next to me, she was like, oh.
I was like a ghoul, just like ugh, like making all these noises and stuff.
Noises
but,
every
like,
time he came on.
But like, okay, in the original RE2, Leon is a rookie cop who doesn't know what he's being thrust into a situation he has no control over, and he learns to like mostly by himself. He has the help of Ada in like a lot of scenes, but this Leon, and like I love Avon Jogia, I think he's phenomenal actor just in general, but like this depiction of Leon is like the most incompetent
Yeah.
like,
It's like
fuck up.
disrespectful.
It's
Yeah.
disrespectful.
And,
It
and
really
I feel
is.
like it's inconsistent when we get to the end.
Yes.
And he has like the kill shot on the big bad.
It's
and,
al-
then he
yeah.
has like a one-liner. He spits a one-liner and you're
Yeah.
like, oh, okay,
It's like
so
what-
we just skipped all the way to RE4.
There
in
was
this
Yeah,
movie.
no
where did that-
character
where did that
building.
courage come- like, where did that development come from?
Yeah.
Like, nothing in the story that all had him start to
Yeah,
slowly
exactly.
change. It was just there. You go from zero to there. And
The
it's-
weirdest thing is that it's like he didn't have any police training. Like he didn't know how to use a gun.
Yeah,
like,
it
he
was-
didn't know
it
where
was
anything-
awkward.
like-
They
And the
changed his
shotgun was, like,
backstory.
confused.
Yeah, he held up
Yeah.
a shotgun. He's like, all right,
He was like, this
I
is
don't
good,
know.
right? And
Yeah.
it's like,
Claire's like, I'll take that.
But he still
Put
went.
his vest
He
on.
still went through the academy though, so
Yeah.
he would know how
that's
to
what I
He
mean.
shot his
He shot his partner
partner.
in
He
the ass.
shot his
Like,
partner.
Because like Leon's gullible, but he's capable. He's
Yes.
trained. He knows
Yeah.
what he's doing. He just needs to kind of
Yeah.
Get some
also, can I be
experience.
like really nerdy Leon fan for a second?
Go
He
ahead.
had a fucking 1911
Yep.
in this
Oh,
movie.
fuck out
Yeah.
the VP.
And not a VP7.
Didn't he have it in the
Matilda-
promotional?
Didn't even get
He
him
did.
I feel like
Yes.
he did, yeah.
But no Matilda VP70
Yep.
in this fucking
And no
movie.
Desert
And I
Eagle
was
either.
pissed. Yeah, like
I know.
Two of his biggest, like, most iconic weapons he didn't get.
That makes me sad.
I get that he's got to have that kind of character development like he did in the original, where it was like rookie cop, but it was so exaggerated. It was just fucking
Although-
stupid.
It was funny.
One of
It
the
was-
parts. One of the things that I wrote down about that is, regardless of all of that, the depiction of what it would have been like to have your first day be in Raccoon City and go through that was a lot more realistic. Where I mean, he's running
Yeah.
around. He's like, I don't know where anything is. I've
Yeah.
never been in this room because he's never been to the RPD. So like, you really like kind of went on that journey with him.
You know,
It-
that's why I feel like I really like this depiction of Leon, despite it being like a little bit inconsistent, a little bit like disrespectful here and there. I felt like the play on the classic like competent rookie archetype of character. Like we have Jill, we have like Leon, we have like Rebecca in like RE0. Like all of these things they're very silly, you know? Like how do any of these
Well, yeah,
characters
of course.
in Resident Evil, like it's always like a little bit satirical. It's always a little bit kind of like awkward, and they really played that up, and I didn't mind it. Like I remember like reading in the S.D. Perry second novel with Leon, he's the polar opposite, right? Like he just graduated from the academy. In his head, his internal monologue is basically saying like, I'm gonna like, do really good on some jobs. I'm gonna get promoted. I'm gonna like do this thing. And I got like a graduation gift from my dad and my uncle, and it was like a Magnum, and like it was this type of like go-getter personality.
But
it's a very conscientious mindset. And this was like the polar opposite, but I feel like with the limited roles that we have in this movie, playing him as that, it like worked very well. It's like if like you look at the entire cast and you say who is a real rookie, who's like the rookiest character, who could we make a rookie out of and like kind of laugh at a little, it's Leon. And this movie did try to be really funny, so like I didn't mind it that way.
He does get shit on by everyone. Walking into the stars room and Iron's just like, what are you doing in here? Go answer phones at the desk. Or they call him a hippie. They say they refer to him being in a boy band.
They literally say, like, Iron says to Leon, go get a haircut.
Get
and it's
hippie.
like,
that's
should have
the
said
thing
cut
too.
the
It's
facial
like,
hair.
Jill gives them like some recognition at the beginning. She's like, yeah, don't worry about them and everything. You'll be all right. And she introduces herself, and it goes nowhere. They literally introduce them like they could be like like friends and stuff, and they could be a team up. And when they meet up again later in the movie, there's nothing. There's literally nothing.
Exactly, and that's why it's like so inconsistent. Like I was talking earlier about, there's this scene with Chris and Richard, and they interact with the first zombie. It's like the iconic Resident Evil scene, and they are so traumatized. It's so beautiful to see, like them just being absolutely crushed. Never dealt with that, and then you say that they've got that. That's like the positive, and then like the other side, they just completely ruin it by this stupid rendition of Leon Kennedy. It's a problem.
And to that, one more thing I want to add to that, because you're talking about Richard and Chris. They're obviously by everything they're doing, they're trying to be faithful, but they're taking a lot of liberties, more than a lot of people were expecting. But like also they kind of rob a lot of the characters of their iconic deaths. To just be second-handedly dead by zombies, it's so compared to what we've got in the games, it's so lame. And to that, the stars room.
Can I just rant about that?
Yes.
In particular?
Yeah. Take it over. Yeah.
Like right at the start of the movie, like all the Stars members, Stars Alpha team, and Richard's Stars Alpha team, I guess. But like Jill literally asks him, "How would you like to die?"
That just told you right there. It's not going to be in the movie.
By getting eaten by a giant snake or a great white shark. And then in the movie, he literally dies to just like a pack of zombies.
Okay,
And
but
it's
can we appreciate how brilliant Brad playing Snake on his phone?
Yeah.
I like that.
Oh my god, I didn't
Jan makes an appearance in the form of Snake on a Nokia cell phone.
He's like,
I didn't put that together.
Like,
I feel so stupid.
I thought everybody got
Snake. I like Snake.
Not because it was Snake on a phone, because it's 98. We're gonna be used to that. No, I saw.
Jan. Yeah.
I went straight over my
I gotta say too, like I think there's one character that kind of got shafted, maybe the same as Leon or a little bit worse, was Lisa Trevor. Now I actually like that.
That's what I want to talk about.
I like that they did change her because she was shown in the flashback. Because this is the other thing, the problem with the movie. It's told in 3 parts: flashbacks, mansion, RPD. So it's all over the place. But Lisa Trevor was a girl that was experimented on in the Raccoon City orphanage, and Claire had seen her numerous times as a little girl, and she remembers her. So at one point where they go back to the orphanage, Claire is like sees her and stuff, and Lisa and the Licker start fighting, and she literally rips the Licker's face right off, kind of like that cop in RE2
I love
remake,
that.
But like,
which is beautiful.
It was as cool and awesome as it was just wrong.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
It was wrong.
It was so cool. I didn't care. I actually really liked it, but it was just like what?
But then they throw in another Easter egg, because Lisa can kind of like still talks, and she remembers Claire and gives her the keys, and it's the RPD keys, which is nice.
Yeah.
To
They
the
go in
orphanage.
an elevator. She says to go down, and they do, and she says thank you, and she says Claire, and then that's it. They literally just leave her up there.
Yeah, she's gone.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
that's
it.
Do they
Never-
know though that Raccoon City is about to be destroyed?
At that
Yeah.
point, no.
No,
So-
they don't. But still, why
Yes,
would you
I
not
agree.
bring this bioweapon that's right
Because
alongside
the
you?
fucking bioweapon, I don't want it with me either.
She literally ripped the licker's face off.
Exactly
It's
why I
so
don't want her
jarring,
with
though.
me.
That
They
was
even
something
stood
that,
there.
Like I said,
I get
I
it.
know we're not going to get 100% what we want from the games, so I was okay with the change because they were starting to do her so good. And then they just, again, it was like I said earlier, they just went places with ideas and never finished them.
I think
Yeah.
to that, she kind of was the horror right at the beginning. In the orphanage, they were portraying her as scary, but quickly you learn she's actually nice. Scary, but nice. And it's like it kind of breaks her character. Like, you know,
I don't think so.
It was Lisa Uwu.
The thing that I like actually kind of like about seeing Lisa in this film is, we know after George Trevor built the Spencer Mansion, like him and his wife were killed, and they started experimenting on Lisa. Well, and then we know, flash forward to Resident Evil 2 remake, where we know that the Raccoon City orphanage is being used to harvest people, children that are never going to be missed for experiments. So you've got RE1 remake where children are getting experimented on. You've got RE2 remake where children are getting experimented on. It makes sense that the two are connected.
That's why I was okay with the
Yeah,
change.
and that's why like everyone was like, "Oh, I can't believe Lisa would be in the orphanage," and it's like, well, where do they killed
That
her
made sense.
parents?
And
Like,
Yeah.
where
she's
would
connected to the Spencer?
So,
Mansion.
yeah, exactly.
It kind of works.
I
Yeah,
wanted to
exactly.
ask you guys, what are your overall thoughts about what they did with, because Chris and Claire's story is completely like a whole
Yeah,
different
it's
thing.
oh my god.
They like really forced connections, like Williams running the orphanage and doing experiments on
And
Chris
then Claire just fucks off for like 5 years, and,
And
it's
she
never
sees
explained.
Birkin
She comes back
at
and
that
shoots things.
intersection. They have that connection, like where they both recognize who each other are.
Yeah,
They do
Yeah.
nothing with
But
it.
the dynamic wasn't there.
Well,
like,
it wasn't. It didn't feel like it was.
Can you guys help me understand this? Like,
Yes.
Chris was raised by William Birkin.
Yeah.
William Burkham took him in like his son and helped him through the academy, helped him through schooling,
Yeah,
and
paid for
it was
it,
like
yeah.
he was like Birkin's was kind of his stepfather.
Yeah.
And I thought that was an interesting twist, except for the very end of the movie where it's like, oh no, typical villain, you were never my son and never liked
no,
you.
here's-
Actually, I want to talk
Okay.
about that because I think
That was kind of weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's actually the coolest part of seeing Birkin's transformation in the film. Because we know, seeing past iterations of the G virus, where there's these moments where people are still struggling with their humanity, degeneration being probably one of the longest drawn out examples of it, where
Curtis Miller.
where Curtis is like, hey, like, you need to get out of here before I go completely insane, and like you see him becoming more
Yep.
evil,
He starts losing control.
yeah, once he starts losing control. And I think that's Birkin here. I think Birkin might have legitimately cared about Chris,
Yeah.
but as the mind starts deteriorating, it's just like somebody with Alzheimer's. That happens there,
Yeah.
where they still recognize what's going on around them, but they become more irritable as they lose control. And I think you would see something similar in this situation. So.
Exactly.
I think I would have liked that, but I don't think it was executed that way.
and that's the kind of the issue I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's what they were going for,
And that
but
would've been great.
But trying to cram it into the last 10 minutes of screen time, it
Yeah.
ended up just making it look
It was-
like he was
well,
a stereotypical
the ending
villain.
was-
The funny
Rushed.
thing about that too, the whole William Birkin transforming and stuff, there was literally a RE5 moment with him. Where he was
Chris.
Birkin was going through looking for Chris, and he was just
Yeah.
like, Chris! And I was
Yeah.
like, son of a bitch, they did!
Birkin didn't give a shit about Sherry.
No, he
No.
didn't. She was completely
Yeah.
useless in this
She
whole
just
movie.
hid.
Well, actually,
And she was
can
really
we
old.
talk about the disservice to Annette, where
Yeah.
she's just a housewife
No, yeah,
now?
she is
Bro.
completely shafted. It's
Fucking
and
She
not in a
is-
good way.
She catches a bullet to the
okay.
head.
Yeah, no. She doesn't have her iconic secondary villain role. She is not a insane scientist like Birkin is. She's not she was him and her
She
were
was cannon fodder.
yeah, they were two big bads, but now it's literally we just have Birkin as the enemy, and that's what makes for a lot of unique encounters with Wesker later on, because there's not really one central villain character until that confrontation with Wesker and Birkin. It's the movie slowly kind of paints up Birkin to be the the primary villain,
Yeah.
but also you got like little details about like Wesker, and
Yeah.
and I want to talk a lot about Wesker and like the portrayals of like a lot of the villain characters, because I actually loved Wesker in this film, and this is like I'm pretty sure like people are gonna disagree, but like the reason why Wesker and the whole ending scene after I like both of those was because in the early S.D. Perry novels, the actual like the portrayal for Wesker was just like an entitled, greedy, scheming villain. He just wants money, and he doesn't want further affiliation with Umbrella. He wants to be free from Umbrella. So that little kind of it's really similar to like Trent's supercomputer that he gets that like tells him everything of what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was totally a call.
That was a super
conspiracy
callback, and
yeah.
and so
Yeah.
basically
That
like
was beautiful.
if you look at the way that Ada, Annette, and Wesker function in the 1 and 2 novels of S.D. Perry's Resident Evil adaptations, they're very similar. They want to get money and they want freedom. They just want to like literally Ada's motivation in 2 was that, and of course these are different adaptations, but so is this one. So is this
But
movie.
they definitely
So-
got inspiration from the books.
Oh, of
Like,
course.
did,
No,
yeah.
of course. No,
Yeah.
but that's the thing. So like, literally, Ada had a line where she just wanted to be free on a beach, drinking margaritas somewhere.
Who
You know,
doesn't?
Albert
Living
Wesker
the
just
dream.
wanted the money. And Annette wanted to sell the G-Virus to anyone but Umbrella. All of them just wanted to be entitled, greedy, scheming kind of villains. So him as that kind of selfish portrayal and getting all the information from like some higher corporation. Like Trent was the character in the S.D. Perry novels that gave them all that data. So it's kind of like there's a Trent behind the scenes where Ada and Wesker are almost interchangeable because they want the same thing. If they're going for that, and if it's kind of like each of them want that money and that prize for themselves, then it makes sense that at the end, like, you know, Ada could be the one working for him as well and kind of bring him back. You know, if there seems to be some larger calling that Wesker is answering to, and that's not like really established in this movie. It's probably going to be bigger in the sequels, but I just thought that was really clever. I felt like that kind of mindset of like another standard kind of greedy character that turns on his friends, that's like what Resident Evil has always been about.
Yeah.
Like, I think Wesker is like great for that reason.
On that point as well about like G-Virus, T-Virus, I really feel like this film, it's not for somebody that's not watched or not experienced Resident Evil before. I really feel like playing the games needs to be a prerequisite for this film. T-Virus wasn't explained, the G-Virus wasn't really explained that well, and the differentiations between the two. If you knew nothing about Resident Evil...
No, but they explain it. Ben Berlucci, haven't you heard about the T-virus and the G-virus?
Of course you have.
just the throwaway line, and that was such a shame. They could have, again...
It felt like there were
so
so
half-assed.
many like scenes cut out of this movie like
Yeah.
to save on time and just like
And there's a lot of filler, though, too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It feels like-
weird.
Like, the
Short
filler-
is filler.
the filler was like just boring exposition.
Yeah,
I
a
feel,
couple
where
scenes I was like, all right. Like,
Yeah, where,
let's
like,
go on to the next thing. We're
yeah.
good.
I think Andy said it earlier. Just like you could just show that stuff. Don't
Show me, don't tell me.
tell me about it.
One,
'cause
of,
it's
one
not-
of the cool things,
Filmmaking
like,
101.
if there's a good takeaway from this movie, it's a really great way to like experience the like what ifs. So like, you know, Chris ends up fighting William, who's transformed, which obviously never happens in the game, and then like
It's a Leon
Claire-
moment, by the way.
I know. You know, or like
Well, he
for
kinda
example, like
did just
Lisa
barge
like
in.
fighting a liquor. I mean, that's definitely never gonna happen
Oh,
in the
yeah.
game. So it was just fun to kind of like be like, oh, so that's what that would look like.
Yeah, I agree. It was cool to see different takes on things, even if they didn't always pay out.
You're like,
It-
okay,
yeah.
now back to the canon. That was fun, but
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Kinda- you kinda-
I'll just say it was really fun visual to see all 4 of the main characters on the escape train at the
Yes.
end. Like that's
Yeah.
that is like, you know, like ultimate fan fiction territory where it's just like, oh, Leon and Jill are like in the cockpit of this fucking like
With
train
Chris.
right now. Yeah, with Chris.
It's all
And
good.
yeah, it was just really good. But yeah, I think there's just there's too many scenes that were cut. Like I think the Birkin final boss was like
Very weak.
such a wasted potential
Yeah, because
fight.
we were all waiting for you know.
There was nothing. Like
It was
he
weak.
breaks
Yeah.
in, he grabs Claire,
Doesn't do anything.
stabs
The rocket
him in
launcher
the
drops
face,
out the
and then-
sky.
But one more,
Yeah, exactly.
one
like,
more would he actually like? It's really just like the tropey ending with the rocket launcher that would end any Resident Evil
Well,
film.
what I
So,
told
like,
her
what
was,
would
I was
be-
like, when Leon showed up with the rocket launcher, I was like, to be fair, that's kind of how we all play Resident Evil now.
Yeah.
Like,
True.
Leon-
I thought that
We
too.
unlock that rocket launcher, we just go ham.
I just fucking got it, dude. It was in the cabin.
Yeah.
Like it's just here.
First class.
Okay.
I mean, barring anything greater that they could have made out of him visually with CGI,
Yeah.
I don't think there was a lot more to do there. Like personally, like
Yeah,
that might be
the CGI on
Because,
the
having,
was
because
great.
having
I
like
loved
big
it.
blobby
Yeah,
Birkin
that's it.
that eats the train, like
Yeah.
would have
I
just,
will say
it would have
this.
been terrible to see on
I
screen.
think that the ending of the first Resident Evil movie is more exciting than the ending of this movie. Like,
Yeah.
there's
Is
so
that- is that-
much
that
of
them-
a struggle.
But that's only
there.
because
That's a fair
Kaplan is
point.
an
That's a really
enjoyable
fair point.
character.
Yeah.
It's only because like you like Kaplan and you like Rain at the end of the first film.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, but
I think the
there
nuke
is it's a-
explosion in the first one, or in the nuke explosion in Apocalypse, looked cooler than the nuke explosion in this.
It wasn't
Well,
even
no,
like
it
a
wasn't.
Was it?
But
It
it's
just
it was
imploded.
just like a...
Yeah,
It was a
I-
cow.
The cow?
Yeah.
Yeah, the cow literally levitates
cow.
and then
Yeah,
disintegrates.
like the
I think-
explosion, the cow like levitates in the air and then just like disintegrates. Like,
Well,
the fuck is that
think-
cow
I think
doing
what
there?
they're alluding to is
Okay.
like maybe underground explosives
Yes.
in the nest.
Yes.
You know, like
Oh, okay.
when you're going down the pit in Resident Evil 2 remake and you see like the whirly things on the side, like
Yeah,
it's all
yeah.
getting ready to implode
Those
internally
like
and
giant
fall in.
like self-destruct.
I just
Yeah.
realized like
Yeah.
this movie is like when you go to like Universal Studios or something and you get on like the ride for whatever the movie is, it's kind of like that where you're like this.
It felt like that,
it-
yeah.
It feels like Resident Evil. It's not really Resident Evil, but you're like it's fun, so you just do it, and then after you get off, you're like, okay, well back to.
I will
Yeah,
say too
yeah.
that like the final like act of the movie was like extremely rushed. Like
Yes.
Yes.
so much
Oh,
happens
yeah.
where
I
like
agree.
I don't know if the chat knows this or anything, but apparently there's a giant tunnel that leads from the Raccoon City orphanage to the Spencer mansion. And when
Because
when we get to the lab, it's like not even like a fun like
Yeah.
crazy lab. It's like it
There's-
looks like
and
a
then
It's
hospital.
the
right
basement
Like,
of an orphanage.
Yeah.
then right at the end they go, "This was the nest." Like there was no
yeah,
like,
yeah, and that's
welcome
supposed to be
to the
nice.
nest.
But actually, hang on. It kind of makes sense though, because if Birkin in this universe is behind everything, why would he not have like an easy passageway from experimenting on children to the mansion?
Yeah, but there was no doors. There was no like for your safety. The door
Yeah,
goes
yeah.
up.
It's just
Well,
like
it's
it's
secret keys, That's kind of like the dumb Resident Evil unlocking element.
But
The Spencer
It's
mansion
also, like, the
has a
geographic-
lab.
yeah, exactly. Like it does make sense within the context of this movie,
Yeah.
but it's still like really bizarre. But I guess that's also like in line with Resident Evil because like we have magic elevators in like RE0 and stuff.
That
but
takes
like
us to the marshalling yard that's nowhere near
Yeah.
like, this.
Yeah.
yeah,
And
it just like we get that where it's like all of the characters like convene in the Umbrella Lab, and then we have to talk about this. Like I need to know what everyone thinks about this.
I know
But
this is
like
going.
so Wesker like
Pesky Wesky.
Pesky
Pesky
Wesky. He actually is the one that like shoots and kills Birkin and not like Hunk's squad.
Yeah.
But then Jill shoots him.
Well, he shoots a net in the head.
Well, yeah, he does
And
it.
he's like, "Oh shit."
Well, yeah, like
I
everyone.
forgot.
You did this,
I forgot
Birkin.
about it.
You
Also,
did
like,
this.
fuck!
He
Yeah,
might as
everyone
well have
in that
shot
room
Sherry as
died.
well because her
Yeah.
character
Yeah.
was just dead the rest of the movie
Like
anyway.
that
Right.
scene, it was literally like dead.
So
Yeah.
Just
to
like-
that, to Jill shooting Wesker, that's kind of what I meant by this movie's pacing is rushed. Where if
Like
you
things
would
just
have,
happen. Like, they
if you
just
would have
happen.
seen Jill kill Wesker because they had a thing in this movie, they were obviously dating or something.
Right.
You would have felt that weight if it was properly built to it. But because it's so rushed and their relationship
They
is
didn't
so
even
rushed,
kiss,
it's
for
like
crying out
when Jill shoots Wesker, it's like
You feel
okay.
nothing.
I think Sherry should have got that kill, but okay.
Yeah.
Well, no,
No.
I feel like the thing is with all of these remixes of who kills who, how the death seeds are all like remixed around.
Yeah.
It does, in a sense, show you how interchangeable and remixable the characters really are. Because in essence, like we have no Barry, right? There's no Jill and Barry kind of like silent like tension arc going
Or
on.
Rebecca.
There's no blackmailing. There's no Rebecca. So like with these lack of characters, we have to make some kind of like treachery arc work for Wesker, and it's like. I guess that could work if we have this limited cast. It's kind of like they're filling in the gaps of the casting
Yeah.
that they literally don't have. So it's like when we have Jill realize his betrayal and go after him. It's like she's kind of filling in the gap that Barry would have had and like kind of taking him down.
They also made a lot of weird choices with that. Like, you guys are gonna really hate this, and I'm sorry to tell you, but they find a piano, and I was literally like, oh my god, she's gonna play it. Nope. And then Wesker plays Moonlight Sonata.
But she's right there.
Worst fucking
And
thing
Jill,
ever.
Jill is standing right there.
She wouldn't know to do that because Wesker had
But he could have showed her.
but-
She knew that device was
okay.
He
So-
could have played it badly, and she could have been like,
That's
I could
terrible.
play it.
This is the thing,
But, like, he
though,
doesn't
But
guys.
she was also looking out the window
His
at
mind
the
isn't-
incoming helicopter.
Yeah,
That's
his
true.
mind isn't
So-
on that. You know,
okay.
Wesker just wants
But-
to
I'm
escape.
sorry, I didn't.
I'm just, well, no, I think, like, if you wanted to do that scene correctly, because I don't know if you guys know this, I ranted about this on Twitter one time, but the lady that plays Jill fucking knows how to play the
Is a
piano
good pianist.
so
Yeah.
well. So it's
Yep.
like, you could have had him, like, you know, like, finger picking the fucking
Little things.
keys.
Would have went a long way.
And he's like, I don't know how to figure this out. And then
Yeah.
she just plays it
Yeah.
perfectly. Like,
Something else is just
just to like fill the scene out a little bit, because
Yeah.
literally even at that point I feel like when they get to the mansion and shit starts to go down, that's when like the pacing is just like
Yeah.
through the roof.
Yes.
You know,
And things just happen.
You know what
they
it-
have
what
to do
it
because they got to
made-
focus back on Claire because she's the main character.
Yeah.
pretty much.
Well, actually, no, we can't just
I feel
talk
like
all
if-
this stuff about Wesker and just gloss over him being the final credits scene.
And I think that's where we should wrap.
Yeah.
Unless you guys have anything else you want to add, I think wrapping this discussion up with the final end credit scene would probably be great before we go to the super chats. But like I said, if
Yeah.
you guys had some other things, we could definitely.
I'll just say
Yeah.
very disappointed. No RE1 tyrant in the movie at all. No tyrants at all.
Tyrants.
the
Mr. X.
back of William Birkin's head when he's transforming looks like the tyrant.
true.
A little bit. Yeah,
it doesn't
yeah.
make up for it.
just
but
on
yeah.
the
No
po-
tyrants.
Just on the point of Annette as well, just rewinding a little bit. It's like it was just completely inconsistent. Like assuming that she is a housewife, but she's a housewife that kind of knows about what William's doing because she knows to kind of shoot Wesker as like a worst case scenario.
Yeah.
But then when he tells her right, Sherry, get in the car, we need to go. She's like, where are we going? Well, fucking love, you know where we're going.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, how do you
That's
not
true.
know?
Yeah.
yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
me.
no, just the only thing I have to say about the ending scene, like, I think the filmmakers thought it was gonna be like this big moment where we're like, oh my god, like Wesker and Ada, and it didn't really.
It fell flat for me.
Fell flat.
Yeah,
I
it
do.
was just like, oh, that's it.
There just
Like,
wasn't.
Because
I feel
there's
like
a role reversal.
and
That's-
that
I
Oh my
actually
God.
don't hate the role
Yeah.
reversal.
No. That,
Because
I still
my
think
thing
they're-
to me is the role reversal almost feels more believable. Like, and I know, like, obviously video games aren't meant to be, like,
Realistic.
realistic, but you mean to tell me that this, like, mega evil corporation decides to infiltrate a small town police department to, like, do their dirty work versus an international criminal
fair point.
getting a stooge in a police department? Because, I mean, Wesker in this was just a stooge.
Yeah.
Was.
Yeah.
He
You
was,
know,
Yeah,
he was like
to me,
really,
that's more
he was
believable
really
than-
emotive as well. Like it almost felt like he had a heart,
I think
and he
that
didn't want to do
I
it
think
to
that
him.
stuff is great, and to your point, like I think that's like I think the reimagining, like the role reversal of it, is great. I don't think there was enough
The
of
scene,
Wesker, in the movie overall, and like the Ada moment is for the fans. Like if you weren't a Resident Evil fan and you're just watching this, you'd just be like,
You have
"Who is
Yeah,
that?
you would know.
But again,
Who is that?"
the Ada moment to me felt a lot like Infinite Darkness's final scene. You know, where they
Yeah.
slide the vials
Yeah.
across, and the Tricell box, and that scene kind of pissed me off in the same way as this because when the Tricell box went across the table, since we know Infinite Darkness took place before 5, why the hell was it not Excella pushing that box
know,
across
right?
the table? And it felt like a missed opportunity where here, the Ada reveal, like, it was cool that they actually used Ada and not some, like, nameless umbrella person.
but
it was like-
But it still had that same disappointment. It was like, oh, this is the scene that I wanted.
Exactly.
But you just didn't push it to that level.
And it's just really weird. Like, and I know like we're all like, you know, it's totally fine if you want to remix stuff and reimagine like character motivations and stuff, but like I want to see Ada like interacting with Leon, you know, and there's none of that. There's no like dynamic of that, and it just goes back to the point of like there's not enough scenes like for any of the characters. Like Leon, like barely gets to interact with anyone who isn't Claire, you know?
Yeah.
Which
you
is-
should feel them like they should be a team. These people should be a couple. These should be brothers and sisters, even though she's
Yeah.
been gone for so long. There's really none of that because they don't have time to develop these characters, and that's why they all like when something does happen, like when Richard dies, you're kind of like, oh, okay.
Which is
And when
why-
Oscar
which
gets
is-
shot, you're like, oh.
Which is
okay.
why I'm leaning towards like, yeah, it was 1 hour 50, and we were talking earlier, should we buy it, stream it, etc., etc. I think it's worth picking up the Blu-ray edition when it comes out, or if there's a director's
I'm
cut,
really hoping that
deleted
there's
scenes.
more scenes.
Oh, yeah.
There must
Yeah.
be like some meat to these potatoes, you know.
Yeah,
Oh, there's
that's
gotta
right.
be.
I'll pick up that soundtrack.
If I'm
Good
not
soundtrack.
mistaken,
Whatever.
Johannes Roberts put out in an interview that they filmed scenes for Mr. X.
Oh, really?
Please do.
If I read the article
I've heard
correctly,
that.
they filmed scenes for it, but he said once they got down into post, like he just couldn't make it work.
Because all the money went to Journey.
The music.
The licensing Journey.
I wouldn't be
No,
surprised.
that soundtrack was expensive. I will tell you that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
I feel like
100%.
the best like chemistry between the Stars members is like at the beginning when they're all chilling in the office.
I like
it's,
that.
like,
Yeah.
I like that.
Well,
I
after
really
there,
like that. Yeah.
because that's also reminiscent on like S.D. Perry's early scenes of like
For
the
sure.
briefings and like just
Yeah.
hanging out in the office.
Yeah.
But then later on, it's like you start to lose a sense of like how are these characters like connected?
Yes.
How closely?
But
they're
that's
connected.
one of the things I love is like you see the Stars office in the games, but you never actually see what went on in there, and this gives you like a taste
Yes.
of like the banter and like,
It was
the
really
Stars
great. I wish
dynamic.
there was more of it.
And yeah.
However, Enrico and Kevin
Oh my
got done so.
Oh, they got dirty.
We're not getting into all that.
No.
Oh,
Just
God.
the thing that hurt me the most was hearing we found Bravo Team's Jeep, and I was like, shut the fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
I got excited.
I was
How
waiting
can
for
you
Billy.
miss
Is
that?
there only 2 Bravo teams?
That's the Bravo
Yeah,
team.
well, for one, it's not a Jeep. It's a
helicopter.
Well, yeah, well, no, I'm
Like,
talking
what's
about
that?
in the movie. Like, it's
Yeah.
not even a Jeep. It's an Explorer
SUV.
expedition of some sort. But 2, how can you say like, oh, we found their Jeep? It's like, no, it's the Bravo Team helicopter. Like, how? Like, why?
Just kidding.
Yeah,
Now,
it's just-
Susie
it's-
brought up a good point. Like when we were watching it, like when
Yeah,
you saw the
so
flipped over. Yeah, go on.
The flipped over Jeep is like the imagery of the Jeep that Billy escapes from
Yeah.
in RE0, and
Yeah, like
Yeah.
same.
it was just sort of like adapted into
Yeah.
Bravo Team's Jeep, which was interesting.
Yeah,
yeah.
Bravo team was 2 cops. It was
Yeah,
just
if,
yeah. That was Bravo team.
The full
Yeah.
squad.
Yeah.
if they kind of like held back on those kind of moments that they're callbacks but they lack any substance, and they use that time and that money to develop more between the characters, I think that could have like really
Yeah.
patched up a lot of the
Yeah.
the plot
That's
progression.
I think that's
characters.
just the biggest issue, that there
Yeah.
should have just been, this thing had to be longer. There needed to
Yes.
be more scenes.
It
with
needed to
these
be more
characters.
focus on specific things rather than going all over the place. It was definitely
really
cool
hard
to
to do.
see, but yes, it is hard to do, and I am not a director, so I can't begin to explain how you could do it, but it just felt like a lot of different stories, a lot of different things going
It's
on
like,
in a very little bit of
it's okay.
time.
Well, it's harder to do when your wife isn't the focal point of your movie.
Hey,
I-
he didn't marry her until the 3rd movie, just so you know.
Yeah, but they
to
were
be,
dating.
Yeah, but to
Yeah.
be fair, like I mean, but the thing about it is the Alice movies were always going to be about Alice. Like Resident Evil as a brand was just along for the
But
ride.
they did
That's
that
true.
to not do what happened with this
Yeah,
movie.
and-
They didn't
and
want to
that's-
ruin
and that's
the
a fair
characters.
point.
Yes.
That's a fair point.
The Anderson movies didn't go downhill until they started fucking up the lore, and then everyone was like, "What are you doing?" And then this movie did it proudly.
Anderson couldn't even follow his own lore. Like, Alice had like
Just fucking
multiple
making up as it's
backstories
going
that
on.
made no sense.
Yeah.
Well, that was
Yeah.
the thing. That was the biggest problem with the Anderson movies is you would have these ending scenes
Yeah.
that would be completely retconned in the openings of the
Yeah, they're like,
next
just
film.
kidding.
Yeah, it's, oh.
But like this movie, I would describe it as if you put Resident Evil 1 and 2 in a blender and drank it. Like,
Yeah.
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 And
Yeah,
if
all
you
of
guys,
it, like-
Not even that,
With
just
the
a
topping-
shot,
with the
just
topping
literally a
line.
shot.
Yeah, and chase it with a strong shot. Yeah, that probably makes sense.
if you guys were upset by like RE3 remake removing stuff from
Oh,
that was
no.
in the original RE3,
Good point.
this movie removes RE3
I don't know her.
completely.
Nemesis isn't gonna happen.
Nope.
Yeah.
I mean, at
said
least
that.
not in the
I
way
said
we would think it would
Yeah.
happen.
Well,
I said
I
that
think
in the theater. I was like,
Yeah.
we ain't getting Nemesis. I
Yeah,
was so mad.
that would be way too much.
No,
to
when they
That'd be
do
way
when they
too
do the
complicated.
Code Veronica 4
Yeah.
sequel film, like you'll have Nemesis. Well, actually, it could work with Survivor too, because
Oh my God, he's in
randomly
it.
had Nemesis.
He could be in
It may have been
in Claire's
but it
dream.
worked. Yeah, make it work.
Yeah. All right, guys. So, I mean, literally, we could probably go on for hours on this. But I think we hit on all the main points. We got to give our opinions. I think we explained ourselves really well. Unless there was anything else you guys want to bring up before we get to the viewer questions, the super chats. Is there anything else you guys wanted to bring up?
No, just
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in.
Huh?
Did we talk about the CGI at all?
That's a good point. I feel like there was moments where the CGI was okay, and there was moments where it really.
There was a lot of it that took me right out of it. Like towards the end, there, like G.
The crow did it.
Too.
Yeah, that crow is.
I didn't really see it like.
No, the practical effect crow outside the mansion was good, but
Yeah,
the
that
crow
was-
that smashes into Emmy's window.
Yes.
Oh! Giant missed opportunity from this movie. The truck driver gets bitten by his dog because the dog zombifies.
Yep.
And that motherfucker should have said,
Whitey bite.
that dog's a maniac. Why'd he bite me? He should have said that.
The dog stayed with him the whole time.
Yeah.
But the burger made the appearance, which we was all happy with.
Yeah.
And it looked way better in Resident Evil 2 remake than it did in this movie. It looked nasty. Burger is 0 out of 10 roll.
But and just one final thing about the exposition of the film, that truck driving scene was just awful. Like where the truck driver
really
just
drawn out.
No, he just kept going on and on. Like
This is a shithole town.
Fucking
Fucking
Claire,
sucks.
you came from Raccoon City.
such a prick.
Why would you come back? And it's like, oh god, dude.
Oh,
just
you're
shut
an
the
orphan, are you?
Yeah,
You got a brother called Chris?
It's kind of yeah. That's kind of where I feel like there was a lot of filler. It's just him repeating the same line. This is a shithole town. Overly, we get it, dude. You don't like Raccoon City. This
Raccoon City.
it feels
Well,
like.
yeah,
And then out of
Raccoon
nowhere,
City.
he's like,
Are
"You
you
should
kidding
come to
me?"
Gallatin with me."
And he makes a pass at her. Like, what the fuck?
No, I think a lot of our talking points really expose how difficult this is to grasp for someone that isn't like already very well versed in the Resident Evil universe.
Like you need to be
People
a
are gonna
fan.
be
You
confused.
need to
Well,
see this movie.
Yeah, because if
yeah,
someone
because-
watches this and they're interested and they're like, "This is cool. I want to learn about the games." They're gonna be completely.
But this
But
is
this gives you a better basis for understanding the games as a new fan than the Anderson movies.
Oh, way
would.
more.
Yes.
also like
Yes.
They're meant to.
there isn't like no one's written a book on like how to do a good Resident Evil movie. So the canvas is just blank.
It's very
so
blank.
they just got to keep attempting
Nobody
it.
has written the book on how to make a good video game movie. Period.
That's true.
Yes. These are all very valid points.
Yeah, this is-
I thought
Okay.
Assassin's Fist did the best. That was
Okay.
a fan film. That was fans though. Like,
So, all right, guys, we're gonna keep the spoilers up just for the fact that I don't know what you guys are saying in the super chats yet. So if there is spoilers, just know that we are gonna be continuing the spoiler discussion. But to everybody that has watched our review, thank you guys so much. We appreciate you guys all coming by. This is huge for all of us. Our first time all together. It has been such a fun trip.
We didn't even bring that up.
This is our
Yeah.
first time, like literally the first time we all got together. It's been a lot of fun, regardless of some of us that did not like the film. It
Yeah.
brought this together, which I think we are all very thankful for. And to all of you guys who enjoy watching our content and, continuing to watch our content, you guys getting our channels to where they are, getting us to know each other, getting us to meet each other. We are all very thankful for all of you guys and just allowing us to be part of this community and continue to make content. So thank you, everybody.
It's one of those things too. Like if I could say, like as Resident Evil content creators, like we're all like heavily invested in the community, and like this moment is like it really symbolizes like what I love about the community is
Yeah.
like when we come together and we can just like chat about stuff and hang out and be cool and be friendly and be nice to each other. So
Oh, the nerdy conversations we've been
Yeah.
having.
yeah,
So many.
Glorious.
Yeah, it's
I
amazing.
just hope that you guys watching this really enjoyed it, because we definitely had a hell of a time.
Definitely.
Putting this whole thing together.
It was
Yeah.
kind of all last minute too. It was really last
Yeah.
minute.
Yeah.
Like,
Good shit.
it's like, yeah, totally. We're gonna be doing this, I think. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh.
It really worked out.
Yeah, it was.
Um,
It started
shit.
out as Andy's vacation to America, and then
And then Rose like, we're tagging along.
Like, I'll come with you.
This guy's a trooper.
Mine-
I was out like filming the Coming to America sequel.
Yeah. And then Rose like, mind if we join? Oh, that's okay. We're already
It just ended
coming.
up,
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, a lot of fun, and thank you guys all for allowing us to all get to meet each other and do this. It's been a blast, and I would like to in the future do more things like this. But now we are going to go into our super chats we got. So to everybody who supported, thank you guys very much. We greatly appreciate that. We're gonna try to answer everything the best we can. There's a lot here, so thank you guys so much. Cory from Rome, member 14 months recruit. Let's go. Thank you, Cory. Azuka with a $14. Thank you, Adazukin. Hello, Row Squad. Happy Hump Day. Love the movie. Oh, you liked it. That's good. Again, to what you said earlier, Kai, if people like the movie, don't give them a hard time for it.
And just because we don't like the movie, that doesn't mean we don't like you.
Exactly. Except I take it personal, and I will hold this again. No, I'm just kidding.
JJ doesn't like it.
No, I'm just kidding. Jesse Duel with a $50 super chat. Thank you so much, Jesse, for that very generous super chat. He says, Happy Thanksgiving, Ro. Happy Thanksgiving to you and everybody here. Thank you for being here and creating this community. You guys are amazing. Cheers to another great year with the Row Squad Alpha Team. Thank you so much, man. And we're just happy to be part of this community. We all built it together. Us, you, everybody. So thank you. Joseph Whitehouse with a $50 super chat. Thank you so much, Joseph, for that very generous super chat. He says, thanks for showing up, everyone. What's that?
I said, Joseph.
Joseph! She did it too. That's our thing with him. Okay. Joseph. Love you, Beggy, Suzi, and Kai. You too, Ro. You are all amazing. Thank you so much.
You, Joseph.
Love you too.
Joseph! Shopper with a $5. Thank you so much, Sha. Love all that you guys do. Thanks for collaborating with Kai. This is awesome. We were glad to collaborate.
Yeah.
Kai, glad you came. Yeah. Ink Ribbon.
Ink Ribbon.
That's his name going forward. We just call him Ink Ribbon.
King Ribbon.
King Ribbon. Oh my god. That's his other channel, silly.
Later. We're just all his little inklings. Anyway, continue.
Yes. Stop being beat to Kai, alright? No, I'm just kidding. T-Doer, 1987 with the 690 super chat. Thank you so much. T-Doer says, it was good for a watch, had some good game connections, some elements were well done, and key plot points they changed really put it off for me. Fair enough. Kapow! Whoosh! Wow! Zing! Blam! Bloom! Poof! Pew! Pew! Zap!
Like,
Had to say it all. If he was generous enough to super chat, I'm saying that whole name. That is a comic book name. With a $2. Thank you so much, man. Says, all things aside, Cory, your hair fly as hell. That probably means a ton to Cory. Yeah.
Actually, I was really.
Look at that hair.
He had bad hair earlier and it fixed, and now, that meant a
I woke
lot.
up like 5 minutes before I had to leave.
He'll take some naps. Guy Ramos with a $27.90 super chat. Thank you so much, Guy. Does it do justice to Albert Wesker? Is he set up to have a larger role in this future or this reboot? Do we get Chris X Wesker, famous antagonism? We don't really get the Chris versus Wesker very much in this.
Referenced.
Reference.
Yeah, not at all.
But it's only really referenced in like the weird love triangle between
Yes,
Jill and
yeah.
Yes.
It's probably gonna be way better.
That doesn't even go anywhere.
Exactly.
Either.
It does, yeah.
Whereas people don't even kiss in this. Like, you could. You would think they were really a
No
couple.
This movie is still very much a loveless Resident Evil thing.
Yes. It's so,
We're
but
kinda
they
used to that Resident
Yeah,
Evil.
yes.
we discussed it a bit further earlier, but yes, it does set this up for Wesker coming back, and you do get the sunglasses if you like that. I guess.
Finally.
That was Fuego. I don't care what anyone says. I like that.
You like them?
It was,
Yeah.
it was very cool.
I thought it was funny.
Yeah. How about that?
Yeah.
Brad Duct Tape Hale with the $5. Thank you, Brad.
Hey, Brad, what's
What's going
up?
on,
Brad.
dude?
They made Leon the Meg of the film.
I
They did.
thought that, like, after the whole thing,
He's
with
the
the
Meg.
first time with Iron, just being like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, instant Meg.
It was funny watching them all yell at him, but it was so disappointing to see that's what he came to in this. Adazukin with a $7 super chat. Thank you so much, Adazukin. Beggy, you my girl. Dang, you know how to sell the movie. I too am going to see Multiple Planets, and I'm glad we had that difference in shift. We had some that hated it, some that didn't like it, some that were okay, and then Beggy really liked it. It was nice to have that contrast between
Yeah.
all of us having this discussion, because if we all
Honestly,
hated it, we'd just be shitting on it the
yeah.
whole time.
I love how many people are willing to be open despite how many of the initial perceptions, because I know like a lot of our initial perceptions were like changing rapidly over the course of this movie, like before the movie. So I'm like, I would love for people to see this multiple times. Like I'm definitely going to. So
Yeah.
you enjoy that, thank you.
Retro 4am, member for 4 months. Thank you for your continued support. I like the movie, and this is a legendary stream. Thank you. I'm glad you liked the stream, man. Legendary. Tarian Folk. I'm really bad at pronouncing names. If you guys know Tarian. All right, with a $5. Thank you so much, Tarian. As a fan of the video game, it's a great movie. However, compared to the first 3 Anderson movies, the Anderson films were better, sadly. And I think some people would agree and some people would disagree. That's why it's fun to have these discussions. Thank you for that. And then Lieutenant Cupcakes Fat Man with a $10 super chat. Thank you so much, man. Solid C+. Things didn't work, but overall it was fun. That Chris dining room scene was fantastic, and the mansion was anxiety-inducing. Susie, I love you, and Big Daddy JJ is the best.
Daddy.
I swear he said that. I didn't just add that in there. Happy Thanksgiving, man. Thank you so much. Silver Eye with a $20 super chat. Thank you so much, Silver Eye. Each game would work separately as their own film. I think it would be better that way. Also, if I were to make a Resident Evil film, I personally would have done 7. I think 7 was kind of built off of horror movies. You know what I mean? It feels a lot like Texas Chainsaw Massacre and a few other ones.
I think if RE7 got a film adaptation, like normal moviegoers would think it was horrible because it's literally just reference City.
Yeah,
Like,
it's already a bunch of movies in
yeah,
one.
It's just Evil Dead with extra stuff.
Evil Dead, yeah.
But it's also like more standalone as like a plot. Like you
Yeah, for sure.
That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see it.
It
It's
could
just-
work, yeah.
I think
And it's selling like a lot. It's like gonna be one of their top selling Resident Evil games, which is weird to think, but we actually had this discussion last week. But yeah, 5 is still number 1, but it's coming. Wolf Griffin with a $113 super chat. Dude, thank you so much. That there's a wolf bomb. Thank you so much for that very generous super chat, man. He says, legendary stream. Love this group. Haven't seen the movie since I stuck at work. Hopefully will soon. So glad to catch the stream at work since my home got destroyed in Louisiana thanks to hurricane. Oh, I am so sorry to hear that, Wolf. And please, anybody that is super chatting, take care of yourselves first. We appreciate that, but by no means do you have to. We just appreciate you guys hanging out. Wolf, I'm sorry to hear that, man. I wish you the best, and please take care of you first.
Yeah.
Refund his money.
Yeah, sorry to hear that, Wolf.
Yeah. Everardo G with a $5. Thank you so much, Everardo. This was the best Dragon Ball Evo Street Fighter, The Legend of Chun-Li of Resident Evil. One of the worst movies I have ever seen. Terrible script.
Wow.
He's actually kind of got a point.
Kind of got a point. Yeah, Retro 4 AM with the $5. Thank you so much, Retro. The real question is, how are they going to bring Nemesis to this franchise, if it is a franchise?
They will find a way to put it somewhere.
You think?
I'm telling you, they're going to go the Survivor 2 route.
I think they're just going to skip him and go with what we
I think
got.
that could be kind of cool.
It would, yeah, I mean, they could fit him in. It would change a lot
No,
of
because
things.
you're going to have the second film's going to have a dream sequence where where Jill is dreaming about meeting Nemesis, and that never happened, and everybody's gonna be like, "Wait, where the hell was that in the first movie?"
That would be
Yeah.
so funny.
We got Delta Frost 714 with the $5. Thank you so much, Delta Frost. I really hope the sequel will adapt Code Veronica. That's actually the director said that was the plan, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's already
And
really
the Code Veronica part in this movie was cool. I thought that was cool. They did a good job
Yeah.
recreating
Yeah,
that.
they got a
Use
little
the
weird
footage.
though with Birkin's
Birkin's search history
We,
sucks.
yeah,
We knew that.
we all laughed at that. It was hilarious.
Actually, I think one of the biggest laughs before we go on that we got was when Chris was like, "What the fuck's a chat room?"
Yeah.
Yes.
They really dated themselves with some of the technology and terms
They
they
did.
used in this movie, so I give them props.
Chris
for
is a
that.
boomer somehow.
Chris is a
There
boomer.
it is. Yeah.
Oh my god. Cascade with a $5 says, movie felt like a cheap adult film and a sad day in my opinion. It was like watching someone play a Resident Evil randomizer. All the characters were in the wrong places. It did kind of feel like a randomizer for the Resident Evil story.
It kind of did.
Yeah.
Actually.
That's a good way to put it. Breezy Gaines with a $20 super chat. Thank you so much, Breezy Gaines. What do you guys think? Imagine if this film was set only in Arklay Mountains and Mansion, creating a claustrophobic The Thing type of film. As for a sequel, combining the events of 3 and 2, love all you guys. That's what I would want too.
Yeah.
I think on paper that sounds great. Now, if they have not been able to adapt that properly yet, I mean, aside from the games, but the thing
I think
is,
if they did that, like, like the first movie would create such a great foundation for whatever you wanted to build
Yeah.
off in like the 2-3 movie,
I agree.
whatever that would be. But
You can do it. I know it can be
agree.
done. Yeah.
Just don't let Hollywood do it.
Guy,
Fans
Guy,
all the money in the world.
Guy Ramos with a $27.90. Thank you so much, Guy. But awkward was always in RE essence, right? Jill Sandwich, Salazar, Ashley Hunnigan, Ethan. What the hell is going on here, Winters? Yes. Yes. and there's a lot of it in this, and I wouldn't say it's necessarily always a bad thing, but it is a lot. Yeah. Cascade with a $5. Thank you, Cascade. There were only like 10 people at the gate of the RPD. What was that? It? Those 10 people and one dog. We could have just killed them and moved on. But you gotta, okay, the town is dying, all right? So there's only like 20 people in this town, but yeah. That is true.
Oh, question.
Yes.
Did they show the Kendo gun shop at all?
No!
Oh my god!
Holy shit!
Yeah, I missed it if they did.
Because
I
they show.
Yeah, we know it existed.
0 out of 10 row. Okay, this movie gets 0 out of 10. No Kendo gun
If
shop.
it wasn't the
Just kidding.
RPG or the diner or the orphanage,
That's
there
what I'm
was-
saying. They
That's
cut
so weird.
lots
How
of
did we
things
miss
out.
that?
Yeah,
No other
that
places
is.
got like any special treatment to really stand out from being in the town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was kind of a bummer.
They definitely
No, they
ran
had
out of
us a
time
shame.
there.
But then again, you know, this is why I say let's get this out on
No,
Blu-ray.
Kendo's gun shop's in Gatlin, the town they kept talking about that they moved.
Isn't it supposed to be Stoneville?
Maybe it's a
Yeah,
Stoneville is the neighboring town to Raccoon City, but now it's Gatville.
Fucking
Must be a
Kendo already
delete
moved
scene.
on.
Right.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Breezy Gaines with the $5. Thank you, Breezy Gaines again. Also remember the actor who played Richard shared the pic of the shotgun shells and with Jan, Neptune, and Crimson when they started filming. I think he brought. Yeah, he did. Yeah.
It is, yeah. Huh.
Huh. That's kind of what I was thinking
Caught
too.
us out
Yeah.
there.
Huh. Cascade with a $2. Thank you, Cascade. Was hoping Leon would get the acorn
The
haircut.
acorn.
He's a hippie. They even call him a
He's a
hippie.
squirrel.
He's a squirrel, yeah. Noriko96 with a $5. Thank you, Noriko. What they did with Jill, my favorite character ever, is a no-go for me. I kind of liked how she was like a loose cannon. I kind of liked
Yeah,
that.
I
I
liked
did.
it too,
I thought it was
It
funny.
was cute.
He
Yeah.
didn't really
Probably
do much
should
with
have
her,
done.
unfortunately.
Yeah, she was kind of pushed to the back
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
crowd,
Yeah.
There.
unfortunately. But
Spanish Dexter with the $5. Thank you, Spanish Dexter. The most ambitious Resident Evil fandom crossover ever. You guys are great. I plan to see the movie end of this week. I hope you enjoy it. I do hope everybody enjoys it.
Yeah.
If you don't,
If you
you don't.
really need a laugh in life right now, definitely spend the money to go see it.
Yeah.
You really
If you
wanna
have the
laugh with
means.
a bunch of friends.
I think it's worth seeing, honestly, if you have the means. It really, as a Resident Evil fan, you might not like it, but worth at least checking it out. Shura with a $10. Thank you so much, Shura. Don't laugh at the way I pronounce names. I'm terrible. I'm just kidding. Do you guys think George Romero would have done a good job with this movie? Also, if you read them, what do you guys think of the books by S.D. Perry? I think we all can agree that we like the S.D. Perry books a
they're
lot.
amazing.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
still waiting for Calvin Code to get a fucking game.
And I do think George Romero would have done a good job with this if it was done back in the early 90s, like when the games originally came out. I think it fit that time better. I don't know if that would...
Yeah, because his script doesn't really, like the script that's out there.
It's not
just-
great.
Yeah, it doesn't. It might have been great in the '90s, but
Yeah.
it doesn't.
Yeah,
really
not
work.
right
Held
now.
up well
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
Some work. Yeah.
But George Romero, because of George Romero, Resident Evil exists. So huge credit to him. It was hard to tell what would be better because it never happened. Kaz RB with a $300 super chat. That one, yeah, that we seen that during the super. Everybody was like, "Whoa, Kaz, dude, that's a Kaz bomb." Thank you so much, Kaz RB, for that incredibly generous super chat, man. We greatly appreciate that, and he has nothing to say, just showing the support. So thank you so much. The Master of Unlocking with a $279 super chat. Thank you so much, the Master of Unlocking. Damn, everyone is here. The whole gang's all here except Bob. Bob could not make it.
We miss you, buddy.
We miss Bob. We do miss Bob.
sadly.
Yeah.
Did we leave him enough food and water?
Yeah, he's good.
Oh shit, I forgot to feed him.
God damn it, Cory.
Cascade with a $2. Thank you, Cascade. Pour one out for the kid Claire left in the house.
Oh, yeah.
But the kid was infected. Like
Yeah,
his head was. Yeah,
He
he
was
was-
past the point in that
And if he
time.
wasn't infected, that zombie
That kid
got him.
was a
He's dead.
decoy anyway,
Yeah,
dude.
it's just plot for, for the
paid
plot.
actor.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's terrible. I go, what the hell? Yeah, didn't think of that. Nikki, Pound Town with a $5. Thanks so much, Nikki. Leon has no bowl cut. That's not 1998 to me. They do call him a hippie. Carrier, Raccoon City started with a $20. Thank you so much, Carrier. Raccoon City didn't feel portrayed enough. It's not a question about the size or depth of the city. They just didn't show much of this interpretation of the city at all. Raccoon City is a character just as much of Chris, Leon, etc. And I do kind of agree with that.
That's
Like
actually a pretty good.
Raccoon City, aside from a few buildings, as I enjoyed it being smaller, did not really look like Raccoon City. They look completely different, actually, from the Gothic architecture
Well,
we're
it's like,
used
I
to.
think Kai said it earlier. Like, it's more that Midwestern town they talk about at the beginning of the original Resident Evil
Yeah.
and stuff. And that's what they're kind of going with this. So,
Yeah, like
and Midwestern towns don't
It has a
have
cow.
Well, yeah. Well, that's the problem. Is like the tone, like the location the games give doesn't actually match the tone the games create.
Yeah.
Like I grew up in Southwest, but
Holy crap.
close enough to like the Midwest, and it's just it doesn't look like that.
Oh, I'm just like blown away. Thank you guys for all the support. Like I cannot believe this right now. Carrier again with a $20. Thank you, man. The movie presents questions that it doesn't answer unless you played the games. Question: what was Umbrella's purpose in the movie outside the experiment on orphans? Why was the T-virus made? Did the movie answer any of these?
It's really a movie for fans of the game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I
it's-
mean. You need to play the games. It's a prerequisite, really.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
don't explain like why Umbrella's infecting the town through water. Really, like
Yeah, and it doesn't really
No,
go
don't
into
worry
the
about that.
outbreak. It doesn't say like was it intentional, not intentional. It's just there was an outbreak.
no
Just-
rats this time spreading it either.
Yeah.
Just a point on Carrier. Little bit of promo on himself just because he's here.
Yeah.
He's doing like a Max Payne comic book style film on an original story based in Raccoon City, and he actually got Avalanche Reviews to like take part in it.
And it's,
So, yeah.
it's awesome.
Yeah, it's really well done.
Yeah,
Like,
I like
you know, like
Max
the
Payne
comic
stuff,
book
like
things
stuff.
from Max Payne, where it was like
Yeah.
quite like noirish and that.
Yeah.
He's doing it, but it's like a character based in Raccoon City.
So he's good. Yeah.
Really cool stuff. Please shout that out. Apologies.
No, that's okay. He's got a comic and it's a visual novel. It's really well done. Definitely check it out. And if anybody knows Raccoon City, Carrier, Raccoon City Story has a really good idea of Raccoon City. Josh Van Bon with a $5. Thank you. He says, so do you guys think that if they took more time and broke it into 3 movies, it would be better? However, I'm still going to see it Friday for free. I think with proper script writing and pacing, that breaking it up would have been best. I think you can all agree there. Adazukin with a $5. Thank you, Adazukin. Y'all forgetting Barry was totally picking Rebecca up and taking her to the hospital in the next town over after losing her mind and making a Billy. My man, he's going off of our that's
He
canon.
saved it. Saved the movie.
I don't know
Yeah.
who did it in this group, but somebody in the film, like when the guys entered the mansion, was like, "Where's Barry?"
Yeah, somebody yelled that out.
Oh yeah, that was me.
That was you, okay.
Where's
Like,
Barry? Carrier again with a $5. Thank you, Carrier. There was references to George Romero's script. His had Raccoon City as a small town like the film, and was also destroyed via underground explosives. I didn't realize the script had the underground explosives.
And their relationship.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Jill's relationship.
Yeah.
Jill and Wesker.
The Gamer Shankster with a $10. Thank you so much, The Gamer Shankster. I think Wesker was merged with Barry for this film. Awesome collab, and some of my favorite Resident Evil YouTubers. Resident Evil, some of the favorites, so he doesn't like some of you guys. I'm just kidding.
I'm used
Yeah.
to not being liked.
Whoa. Oh, it was you. I was like, there's a party going on in here. Yeah, thank you so much for that, man. And Wesker merged with Barry. Kind of. It feels like a few characters were merged, you know?
Yeah. Several.
Well, yeah, Wesker was the whole USS team.
Uh-oh.
no.
Sir, we were.
Oh no, no, no,
Son.
no! You're around here. No, it's a little bit further up.
Keep
Actually.
going.
Up a little bit, just a little bit.
Up.
Keep going.
Keep going. We're nearly there. We're so close.
You're so close.
Oh my god.
Right.
Oh,
No, one more.
oh no, we're here. We're here. It was yeah.
No, no.
Yeah. there
So
you
you
go.
the yellow
West,
and then the
Wesker was
blue.
merged with, yeah.
Wait, yeah. Okay, so Shaw Burr with a $5. Thank you, Shaw. A lot of the movie didn't make sense. Jill shoots Wesker, but then cries that he's dying. I face palm so hard. I think that he did have a gun at a kid, and a kid had a gun at him. Like, I can understand that she just had to do it, but still liked him.
Yeah.
You know, I could see that would be unfortunately the thing she had to do. Carrier with a $5. Thank you again, Carrier. Also, despite the leaked photos, we didn't get Gun Shop Kendo. Very sad about that. Did not even think about that until it was brought up here. Holy crap. Simon Leach with the £5. Thank you, Simon. Will I need sweets and booze for checking it out? Because it sounds like it's trying to do too much at once.
Yeah.
It's like a live action Cowboy Bebop ad. I did know that when I was sipping my margarita, I enjoyed myself a little bit more during this movie. It wasn't until it wore off that I started overthinking things. So I would say if you're of age and not, driving, so you're watching it safely, I would say maybe. Maybe. Okay, Adazukin with the $5. Thank you, Adazukin. The movie is a mashup of the storylines Resident Evil 1 Remake and Resident Evil 2 Remake with a sprinkle of Code Veronica for good measure. I do love it, but bad CG.
Yep.
Yeah. CG gets a little rough at points. Wolfenstein with a $10. Thank you, Wolfenstein. There's a perfect version of Resident Evil in our heads that we need the director to create. Who do we hire?
Yeah.
That's hard.
That's a hard
Ridley
question.
Scott.
We need a lot of
There's
thinking
a lot
on
of
it.
people that are trying right now to bring about their own versions of the original games.
I think James won.
Trying
That's
to,
a good one,
yes,
yeah.
Actually,
That's a good one.
I can see
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Banger.
Banger.
I think he should make a Devil May Cry movie, but that's just me.
He
But anyway.
probably would do good with that either.
Yeah.
It'd be really supernatural and spooky. Devil May Cry.
Deandra Nugent with a $5. Thank you so much, Deandra. So who actually liked the movie? Beggy.
I loved it. It was fire.
You did like it. You liked it, yeah. And yeah, you liked it, yeah. RJ Gould with a $5. Thank you so much, RJ. This movie was written like they were told they weren't getting a sequel beforehand.
See,
You did make a comment on that. Yeah.
I think the opposite happened. I think what happened here was, they're like, oh, hey, we want to maybe do a sequel, but we don't know if this movie will do enough to get one. So let's get as much out of the way as we can right now and see if we do a sequel.
Okay. Okay, so we appreciate all the support right now, guys. Thank you so much for all the super chats. We're going to read what we got here, but I think if I don't turn that off, we'll probably be here all night.
Yeah, we should probably wrap up.
And we're all starving.
And I honestly think that to do justice, because we haven't ate in a long time, to say thank you to everybody that did super chat that we're not going to get to tonight. Cory and I, Beggy, Tony, when we get back in town, we will make a separate video addressing all of your questions.
Sure.
Because I do feel bad, but I think that we probably be here for quite a while.
I think all of us are gonna make our own content about this movie. So
you guys are just too damn generous.
You're just too damn generous.
You're just too damn nice.
Please stop giving us money. Come on.
All right, so I'll go through a few more, and then we'll hit the next ones in the video when we get back. Jesse Duel, 2 years, 24 months, Alpha Team. Thank you for your continued support.
Jesse.
I love my ink ribbon. Oh, sorry. Kyle
Jones with $5. Thank you, Kyle. I love Ink Ribbon, my man. We all love Ink Ribbon. Kai, too. Hamburger Patties with a $2. Thank you, Hamburger Patties. Thoughts on Chris fight scene in the dark?
I loved it.
I didn't like that.
It went on a little too long.
Yeah, I didn't like that when he was lighting the lighter. The zombie stopped, went around him just for the fact of the jump scare. It's like, did the zombie really just get up, run around, and then spook him from behind?
Well, no,
Smart
I thought it was
zombie.
What
kinda
they're talking about is the fight scene after, where you only see the zombies attacking while he's
Oh,
shooting.
I didn't like that either.
The lighter scene was dumb, but the scene him shoot in the dark was cool.
I think for a while it was cool, but then he had 30 rounds in his magazine, and I was like, this gun is never gonna run out of ammo. Holy crap! It was fine. I mean, it did start off really cool. That whole part in the Spencer match, and I did like that. Anubis with a $2. Thank you, Anubis. Love you guys. Wish you all a safe return home. Hugs. Thank you, and hugs to you as well. Shabber with a $5. Thank you, Shabber. I really hope you guys all collaborate more in the future, as do we. Can you guys play Resident Evil Outbreak File 1 and 2 and live stream it? We did.
We did.
We just did. We
will do it
I
again.
can confirm I was there.
You were in it. You were in it. Yeah, and you were in one of them, right?
I was discussing things.
You were discussing
wasn't
things,
like-
Tony. Yep, and Cory was in. Yep, we just did that. Check it out on the channel. It's up. Altier, or Atlier with a $5. Thank you, Atlier. I really hated Claire in this, but hey, I got to watch you guys hang out and talk about the film. Love all you. Keep up the great content.
Atlier makes some really cool fan cutscenes with better graphics and stuff. Check it out.
I will definitely check that. I did not know that. Cool, thank you. And yeah, check that out. Cat Shark, our favorite Cat Shark member for 21 months. Roll Squad Recruit. Woo, 21 months. Still the favorite Cat Shark. Still our favorite Cat Shark. Thank you for your continued support.
Cat Shark.
I'm going to go through these three here, and then the rest that we do not read again, guys, we'll make a separate video. Delta Frost 714 with a $5. Thank you so much. Do you guys believe it would make more sense that Code Veronica be adapted for the sequel? And if so, would you like to see who would you like to see play Steve and the Ashford twins?
Definitely Henry Cavill as Steve. I think it would make him a Chad this time around.
What?
Steve come in there and share.
Hear me
Subvert expectations.
Hear me out. For the Ashford twins, I'm thinking Adam Sandler because of Jack and Jill.
Whoa, subvert expectations. I don't have a legit one offhand. I don't.
Honestly, can I say, if they ever, I know, I'm not trying to stoke the fire of this right now, but if they ever remake Code Veronica, I think Nicole Tompkins should play Alexia.
I can see that.
Wait, actually, you know what I just thought of? Who'd be Fuego for Alfred.
Fuego.
He would, who's Draco Malfoy's actor? That
Oh.
guy. He would be creepy as shit. He's such a good villain.
Yeah.
Already.
Tom Felton.
There you go.
There you go.
Definitely.
Justin Bieber as Steve.
And I think that Code Veronica, Justin Bieber as Steve. I do think that Code Veronica would be the next one they would do if they do a sequel. Herman Turrington with a $10 and a super sticker. Thank you for that support. Nothing else to say. Appreciate that. TGV Monster, our last super chat of the night, guys. Again, remember, we will come back to these and make a separate video when we return home. So thank you so much for the support. Sorry we can't get to them all. We are very hungry and we could probably go all night, but yes. TGV with a $20. Hi guys, sad I missed most of the video. It's so good to see Kai, Suzi, Beggy, Cory, Tony, and you guys all together. I liked it even though it was a bit cheap. Could you guys all give 5-word review, and would you recommend it?
Oh, 5 words?
we-
Let's do it quick.
We actually did that, yeah.
Yeah, we did
We
that.
did. We explained it pretty well. So if you want, I'll have this broken up into timestamps. But again, guys, this has been so much fun. This whole event, hanging out all together for the first time, seeing the movie and hanging out with all you guys has been a blast. Again, thank you guys all so much for being here. We greatly appreciate you guys. Please let me know in the comments below what you guys thought of the movie. I'd definitely like to read through them. If you guys enjoyed this video, like seeing us all together, please leave a like. Helps a ton. Lets us know what you guys like to see. To everybody who's super chatted, thank you guys all so much for the support. I'm sorry we cannot get to them all tonight, but we will address them in a separate video coming soon. And to everybody, anything you guys want to say before we close it out?
Thanks for the invite, guys. It's been awesome.
This was
been a
really
blast.
fun. This was
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, just yeah, I'm really happy that we got the chance to do this. This is a really fantastic thing. Like I know like most of us were kind of mixed on this movie, but like I kind of hope they make more movies so we can do this every year.
Excuses
Like,
to see each
And,
other,
like,
yes.
Yeah.
I see you guys in the chat being like, oh my god, they're all together. That's how we feel too. We
Yeah.
keep talking like,
Yeah.
oh my god, we're
Yeah.
really here.
100%. It was.
Still not over it.
So yeah, all right, guys. Well, if you guys want to follow Biohazard Declassified, what's your at, guys?
BHD.GG.
Okay. And did you have something you wanted to say? You had.
Oh, no,
okay,
I
all
was
right.
just, yeah.
BHD.GG, obviously the row. You're here. Suzi, where can people follow you?
Just the Sphere Hunter. Like so, the Sphere Hunter. Just
Yeah.
on everything.
Kai.
Yep. Inkribbon, youtube.com/Inkribbon.
All right, and again, I'll have all these links down below. But again, guys, thank you so much for all coming by and making this night so much fun. It's been a blast. Loved hanging out with you guys. We hope you have a great night, and we hope to see you all back at the Residence Field. Good night, everybody.
Later,
ya.
y'all.
Know with that being said.
Let's get right out of it. All right, good night, everybody.